And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to an Untitled OSP stream. I am Blue. I'm joined by Red.
Hello, what's up?
And I'm joined by Cyan.
Hello, hello.
We are going to honk our way to the oblivion of a terribly innocent little town in this wonderful game called Untitled Goose Game. Shall we begin?
Yeah, baby, let's do it.
All right. Save file 1. Empty. Let us commence.
Woo woo!
So, we don't have a charity on this time, unlike last time where we raised $33,000 for Feeding America. What? This time is just we're gonna come and have fun. Just play some Goose Game, have a nice time, just enjoy ourselves in the middle of this this fine Tuesday afternoon here.
Tuesday. I remember when Tuesday mattered.
Tuesday still matters for me.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
This is what we in the writing biz call foreshadowing. Bells.
Oh, man. I didn't realize you could just get there from the beginning.
Oh, well, this is where you start. So I have played Untitled Goose Game before. Cyan and I have kind of bumbled through it for a little bit. But I am by no means a pro at it. This is a video game after all. I'm not good at those things. So we're just gonna kind of have fun. Just gonna mess around. Hey ya.
Yes. Let's do it.
Yeah. Oh. Stuck my beak on the thing.
You've got a ball now.
I love that there's just a button to open up your wings. It doesn't do anything. It just makes you more menacing.
Can't you flap them?
That's how geese roll, my dude.
There we go. Get back here. There we go. How's everybody doing in chat? Are our levels okay? We're just kind of getting into the opening swing of this. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just full of honks.
Yeah. Clearly
wait.
we're doing well.
We hit 2K viewers, which is cool. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, heck. There are too many technology devices involved in this stream.
Once again, we are using our cursed setup of 2 laptops, a microphone, a capture card, and a Discord call to get this going. So we're making it work. It's better than when I just pushed the share button on PS4, but still a little janky.
Everyone's saying everything's going heckin' honkin' well.
Great.
Heckin' honkin' well. Yeah, honestly, the fact that my setup with, like, the preamp, the mic, the soundproofing foam is, like, the least complicated part of this rig is probably not saying very good things about our setup.
I'm connected to 2 laptops and a phone in addition. Trying to still do my normal 9-to-5 job while popping into the stream. So if I'm in and out, sorry.
God. That's what I call multitasking.
Well, they're still in the introduction of the webinar I'm watching, so it's fine. They're just talking about all these people.
Yes, the things that people talk about. Other people.
Oh, hey, this guy's from Boston.
As you know, things are happening.
All right, so we are going to first play this man's music to get him to come outside and challenge us one-on-one. There we go. Come fight me, you bastard. Oh, what's this? Me playing your music? Oh, well, what are you going to do about it? Oh, no, not me. No, not me. Not me. No, sir. Just going to casually deplant
You cannot
carrots
hope
here.
to fathom
Put that over there.
the evil that lies within.
Up a little? Okay. Just gonna waddle through. Don't mind me. Just going through public property. Having my own fun time here.
Hey, Blue, can you, like, honk at someone at some point?
Just gonna press the Y button to honk several times.
Adjusted the game audio.
Mic check.
Looking good.
Mic check on aisle honk.
Okay. Heck.
So first thing we're gonna do is try to soak this poor gardener once he goes to pick up his carrots that I have so vandalized into putting in the wrong part of the garden. So yeah, take this. That'll teach him. From hell's heart, I honk at thee. Let's do that for good measure.
Did you turn the piano music down?
Oh yeah, I did.
Do you want to? Yeah,
I'll turn the piano music back
back
up.
Oh!
Thank you. Everyone's like, "Where's the pretty piano?"
Just gonna go hide with my jam. Boom, ba-dum, boom, ba-dum. All right. It's going to be none the wiser. Because the next thing on our list is we have to steal the groundskeeper's keys. We can do that in a hot second. We have to make the groundskeeper wear his sun hat, get the rake in the lake, and then have a picnic. The picnic is the most complicated part of this by far because it requires the most ingredients. But if I can stealth my way around here, all Metal Gear style, then we'll be able to get started on our picnic.
Oh, other way.
Ooh, here we go.
Someone has to have dubbed this over with like snake noises whenever the goose moves, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like that has to exist.
This is easily the best stealth game in the past 5 years.
It's not wrong.
There we go. All right, off to a roaring start, off to a honking start.
They want you to put the rake in the lake.
Rake in the lake? All right, let's rake in the lake.
In the lake,
Just gonna waddle on through, as is my right as a citizen of this fine town.
Rake in the lake? Sorry. I'll stop Metal Gearing.
I'm gonna need 5 progressive rake in the lakes of varying intensity. Rake in the lake.
Rake in the lake?
Rake in the lake. Rake in the lake.
Rake in the lake!
Okay. Rake? Rake?
God.
Rake!
Rake!
That's how video audio works, right?
Put the rake in the lake.
Somewhere Matt Mercer's like, yeah, they get it. They get it.
Yeah. Oh god, if we got approval from Matt Mercer, I'd probably explode.
It's Rake Lake. And we shoot 6 people in the face. Oh, this is not Rake Picnic. This is Rake in the Lake. How daft of me.
Blue, how dare you?
Yeah.
No,
Now
put
get
you
in here.
Fool.
In the lake. There we go. That's how you rake in the lake.
Snake in the lake.
You need
snake
the
in the
sandwich and the apple for your picnic.
Yeah. Gonna go with that. Get some bread.
I think it's
Part
a
of any
sandwich.
complete meal.
Cheese sandwich.
Cyan and I have been making so much bread
Yeah.
in our past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We've made sourdough. We made honey wheat bread the other day, which was great.
Am I on my
Oh,
second
damn.
week of working from home now?
Third.
Anyway, it's just
Third week.
What a time.
Third
Okay,
week by
here's
company,
how I've been
second week
keeping
by
track.
state law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's how I've been keeping track. The number of people who were saying, day 1 of quarantine, March 13th, Friday, is like not small, so that's how I've been keeping it up, because it's like, yeah, I also started staying in around that time, because that's when it started seeming like a good idea.
Cute about it.
Oh.
So, yeah.
What do we need? We need the thermos,
Oh boy.
a pumpkin, a whole pumpkin, and a carrot. Okay, carrot we can do. That's
you're
fine.
not
Groundskeeper's
eating
a
a
million
whole
miles
pumpkin-
away.
If you're not eating a whole ass pumpkin at your picnic, then what are you even doing, honestly?
Link would approve,
come
because
on,
fortified
man.
pumpkins are an important part of any Breath of the Wild culinary experience, as Brian David Gilbert has shown us.
Huh? Oh.
Honk. I'm waiting for a cut that replaces Link's grunts
Honk at
with
him.
honks.
Link,
Oh, wait. Go
the
down
blood
to your,
moon is
the
rising.
bottom. Go across there. If you move that stuff. No, not the cabbage.
What
no,
stuff?
The
Oh yeah,
crate.
I have an exit route, right?
Yeah, crate. And also an entrance route.
Yes. Metal Gear. This is dynamic level
Metal
design.
Gear?
The player's action can change how the game is experienced. It's cutting edge stuff that you just won't see in any stealth game.
Honestly, thank God for indie game developers.
Oh my gosh, for real.
You guys are really keeping it fresh, because
Yeah.
I mean I've said for ages that like once a genre kind of gets entrenched, a lot of the creativity sort of boils out of it, because it's like
Yeah.
once there's a tradition, people don't want to defy it.
Yeah.
I was talking about this in the Minecraft server yesterday when we were discussing fantasy and why the accents are the way they are, and the answer is just they did it with Tolkien. And then everyone was like, well, I can't not do what Tolkien did. And that's why elves are British, dwarves are Scottish.
No, that's ooh, uh-oh. Oh, okay, he's gonna go look for pumpkins. Cool. On the subject of like indie games and mining, a font of material dry. It's amazing that we have the infrastructure for indie games that we do, because back in the old Minecraft days of like early 2010s, early access was a new thing. And do we have the picnic? We have a blanket radio. Ah, we need our music.
But you have to do that one last.
Gotta set the
because-
mood.
No, it's on the table now, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's the hardest part. Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's why you have to do it last. You just need
Yeah.
to, like, get it, and then
Excuse me.
run.
Yep. But
Games.
oh,
You were saying.
Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna stealth my way over here. I'm just gonna hide for a hot second. But indie games, it used to be
Excellent,
that.
Snake.
Yeah. It used to be that you pretty much just had to, publish through a big publisher or, risk the wilds with an early access game. And then all the things on Steam were like, oh, here are these indie games that aren't made by a big studio, but half of them are unfinished garbage. A quarter of them are finished garbage, and a quarter of that is good. So it's good now that we have systems like the Switch, where you can actually get a curated list of good indie games, all in one place, where they're guaranteed to be finished and playable. Not necessarily, like, amazing, but, certainly serviceable games, especially when you hear, there we go, there's a picnic, clean that up, asshole. Especially when you're seeing all the reports of, like, The Last of Us has been delayed, Cyberpunk has been delayed, and it's not to avoid crunch in the games industry where people are working, like, 18-hour days, it's so that they can crunch for longer to get the game good. So you have all these stories coming out of various publishers, around the country and the world, who are putting their studios through hell just to get these things finished, and it becomes completely infeasible to launch a game with, so many fancy, shiny graphics that's so wildly expensive to produce when, 3 guys in Australia can make one of the most entertaining games of 2019 easily on, comparatively a shoestring budget. It is probably unsustainable for the video game industry in the long run to be working on these games with this attempt at margins, only to find that, it's really hard to make this kind of stuff.
What else do you have to do now?
I have to get him to wear a different hat, so I need to steal his hat off right now.
And then you have to run
Taking
away
that.
and put it in
Haha.
the lake.
Into the lake with thee. So, anyway, long story short, video games are hard to make, and good on people like the House team for doing good work. And I think this is probably important of things to come, where it's going to be increasingly difficult to support a full AAA game, given how expensive they are to produce, and how shitty it is to crunch your way to.
Steal his keys and go back inside.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, yeah, steal his keys and then lock them.
Ha!
Isn't that one of the things? Lock the
Yes, it is.
groundskeeper out? Drop him. Drop him.
I have to drop them in the bushes,
Yep.
otherwise I'll find them. So yeah, that's my that's Blue House.
Do it now.
Wait, gotta let him go.
No.
No, you just need to make sure he's not in.
There we go. And that's how you do it.
Excellent, Snake.
Layer a little golf clap on the end.
So now the thing is, now you have to let him back
Dun,
in
dun,
though,
dun,
because
dun,
otherwise he won't.
Dun 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 dun.
He won't take
boom.
the new hat.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, we have to make him hammer his thumb. So once we open this back up. Oh, no, I've locked him in for good. He'll come around the long way.
Huh. Oh, amazing.
But what if he gets his hat back?
But yeah, I do think
We'll see.
he'll be fine. I think it's interesting that that with like the advent of the internet and like certain modes of distribution, it's made so many fields that were just incredibly like insular and like stratified. Just it's completely thrown that out the window, and now anyone and their grandmother can just actually like get in and do stuff. I mean, the comic industry is my favorite example of this, because I've kind of been reading webcomics pretty much my whole life, or at least as long as there have been webcomics. And before that, the comic industry was incredibly like stratified. If you had a comic you wanted to make, you got an entry level by doing the lettering in somebody else's comic. And then you climb through the ranks, and eventually you were doing the inks for somebody else's comic, and then maybe you were doing the colors for someone else's comic, and then eventually you could go before the grand high authorities of comic making and be like, "Excuse me, sir, I would really like to tell this story," and they're like, doesn't seem marketable, and then you're boned for another 30 years. And then nowadays it's just like, build your own crappy WordPress site, or make a Tumblr blog and just post one page at a time. The sky is the limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then with games, it's kind of the same thing. Like, you could get in doing like debugging and entry-level coding and stuff on somebody else's game, but if you wanted to build your own game, well, the computing power wasn't there if you were just Joe Schmo until, last few years.
Yeah, you can just,
I don't know,
download the
it's really-
Unity engine, completely formed and build a game off of it rather than having to make your own proprietary whatever. You know, like you would have like 10, 15 years ago. I deigns to let the groundskeeper back in, as is my power as god of this town. Honk.
She'll be the god of this new world.
Yeah. But that's one of the fascinating things about the way that everybody's having to adjust now with so many people working from home. It's like, obviously it's not ideal, and for a lot of industries it's completely impossible, but a lot of the working population does have the ability to do their jobs, at least in some capacity, at home, which would have been, you know, unthinkable 10 years ago, even, you know, 10 months ago.
Get ready to honk at him.
No, too soon.
Also-
too soon, sorry. Jump the gun. Whoop.
Also, hello, Joe Cat. Thank you for the $10. Great to see you.
Welcome to the chat.
Hi, Joe Cat.
Everybody who isn't aware, there we go. Joe Cat was doing the Bards for Bards charity stream a couple days ago and raised, what was it, $13,000, which was amazing. Good on him for helping out performing artists who are affected by industry, you know, performances, closures of concerts and recitals and all kinds of stuff. Artists, you know, who are now just currently out of work. Joe Cat doing the good work.
You can steal his trowel.
Heck yeah.
Steal his trowel. I can't steal his trowel. Let's steal.
We
I
have
wanna
already
steal.
played this game before.
But yeah, if you're
over
not
to your
aware of
right?
Joe Cat,
No.
go check out his channel.
You're right. Not the Goose is right.
Oh,
It-
goose right, goose left.
Take it with
There we go. This is mine. I'm keeping this. Never mind, I don't want it. I just wanted you to not have it.
No, put it in the shop.
Okay, fine. Oh yeah, because I have to make someone buy back some of my own. Right. Alright, cool.
It's later with the kid.
I was told that we have to make him wear the doofiest glasses possible, and I will make that happen.
Oh. Yes.
Doo-doo. Just gonna put this in here.
Oh,
no.
we've hit 4,500 concurrent viewers, which is
Wow.
pretty
hello,
nifty.
hello.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
You
people.
guys really
Welcome,
like this
friend.
goose. Yeah.
What are we saying? But yeah, the ability to just do your own thing, whether it's, you know, working from home or, you know, oh, I can't get into
drop
a, you know,
it.
industry publishing job. I'll just make my own damn comic. It's amazing what the internet has been showing itself to be able to do, for better and for worse. And, you know, YouTube is one of the few industries where we were all working from home already anyway, so we're not really seeing a lot of structural changes.
Yeah.
All right, kid, I'm gonna make your life
Hey, it's
hell.
the kid.
Honk. Yeah, take that.
Actually,
yeah.
I did want to say, while we're talking about like industries that like the advent of the internet has kind of opened up, there's this thing that I really want to see more of because it was really cool when it first happened. The Philosophy Tube Shakespeare stream, which was just super dope. But it was basically just like, we're gonna get a whole bunch of people on a stream and we're gonna perform Shakespeare. Like, you know, we're not gonna act it out on a stage, but we're all gonna read the parts like an audio
well read.
drama.
All the world's a stage.
And well, of course, yeah, the stage. You just we're merely poor players. But the point is, like that kind of thing, just like live streamed audio drama performances. It's like we've reinvented the radio play. But I really want to see more of that. How cool is that?
No, that's great.
Yeah. No, it is, and I want to see more of that because like that stream, you know, it was like 5 days straight, and I don't think Ollie slept the entire time. But you know, it's like it doesn't have to be that insane, but you could just block out 2 hours and be like, and now as you like it. You know, it's just all kinds of things you could do, and that you could do from the comfort of your own home
You
with
have to
just a
honk at him
simple
while he
mic
goes to
setup.
tie his shoes. Oh,
I have his glasses.
but you need to get different glasses.
Catch me now, nerd.
Just put them under the table.
Yeah.
She won't find them.
No one will have these.
And now you have to get.
All right, now we
a
have to get
different
the
pair of
doofiest glasses that we can find.
I like the pink ones personally.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
again, those sunglasses are pretty doofy.
Nope, that's a flower.
That's a quick run.
What? How'd I go? You'll never take me alive. Oh, what? No, that's unfair. That's cheating. No, mine.
Oh damn!
I stole these fair and
She's out for
square,
blood.
lady.
No, quick drop them. No, go get a different pair.
Okay. Oh, no.
Or lock. You can
Use
lock
your
her in the
agility.
Garage, can't you?
Yes.
Not yet. The garage is not open.
Oh.
You'll have to wait.
Ah, curses.
Turn her radio off, maybe. Just cause havoc.
Yeah.
If you
Put
start
that
Don't you get
away.
points for breaking the broom?
Yes, we do have an objective to break the broom.
You can break the broom. If you steal her
Fight me in single combat.
No, see if you take something else.
Yeah.
No, run as far as you can with the broom. Because she'll have to come back for it, and while she's busy getting the broom head, you can go.
You know what? That is one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite tropes when the bad guy's like, "Don't fight me with weapons. Let's do this hand to hand," and the protagonist's like, "All right, fucking fine," and then just fucking destroys them.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite bit.
That's the plot of Beowulf.
That guy's like, "You probably can't." It is, yeah. It's like you probably can't beat me with your fucking awesome sword, and the hero's like, "All right, let's stress test this motherfucker. Let's see what happens."
Put them right in front of him. He'll pick them up.
Here, good sir, I have found your glasses.
Woo.
Ha! Take that, fiend. Oh wait, we gotta open up the door. Okay, no, he has to open up the door. We track him inside. Okay, alright. No, there's a process. Alright. Get in there. Yeah, get in there. Yeah! Sorry.
This game really hits that perfect sweet spot of like fundamentally not being that like malicious, like, you know, you're not hurting or killing anyone, but you are being an absolute ass.
Yes.
Or you can go appear on stage.
This is all just the joy of a game like Grand Theft Auto, but without any of like the moral repercussions of it. It's the ultimate experience. It's vastly preferable in every single way. Uh-oh, come on.
But let's be real. Let's be real. The real joy of Grand Theft Auto is spawning dirt bikes on top of Mount Chiliad and trying to drive down without dying.
Oh, yes.
That's the only joy I ever gained from Grand Theft Auto.
Huh.
Or, better yet, you spawn a car and then you see how much you can get it down the mountain without it exploding.
Yeah, that's the challenge. I remember we used to play that in our senior year when GTA was the hottest new shit. We played just
so good.
GTA in the afternoons. Oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yes, only one
It's
roll
like
of
you
toilet
could
paper.
go
because
around
I'm not a
blowing
sadist.
Yeah, if you've been stealing all
Let's
the
see,
toilet paper from the grocery stores and now are trying to return it, you indeed are the problem. Just letting you know.
Yeah. And the goose is less of a bastard than you are.
Yeah, you know that you're a true criminal.
Why are you stealing the toilet paper?
It's on our list.
Oh, the shopping. Yeah, no, you need to lock her away before you can do the shopping. Or you need to put it in a place she won't look. So, like, under the bench.
Oh, is that my basket? Ah, yes, that is my
that's
basket.
your basket, but you need to move the basket somewhere else.
Yeah.
Probably. So, if you bring it pretty far away, then she doesn't know.
There we go. Alright. Just gonna do my shopping in the middle of the street, where it's least obtrusive to everybody else.
Please, everyone, the goose is chaotic neutral, not evil.
Oh no. Look, I'm stealing your stuff.
Hey lady, look, I'm ruining your shop. I'm
You have
destroying
to,
your
like,
livelihood.
Do you have to,
binge.
like, weigh something?
Oh, that's one of the bonus objectives.
Oh, heck. Sorry.
Oh, heck.
Oh, you can also put the airplane in the shop and he'll have to come buy it back.
I can,
Or you can
yeah.
come get the farmer and try to make him buy back his
Yeah,
shit.
I'm not sure about getting the farmer out here. I need to lure him if I want him to buy back his trowel. I think the airplane is our best bet. Alright. Take this. Oh, no.
No, just drop it.
She can't see me do it.
No, you just have to drop it. She can see you do it as long as... So what else do you need for your shopping?
For my shopping...
Toothbrush, hairbrush, tin food, cleaner, fruit, and vegetable.
Okay. Toothbrush. Goose hygiene's important. These honkers don't stay clean by themselves.
I don't think that's what honkers mean.
You're right, I realized Stuart said it. I'm like, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. I fucked that one up.
What did you say?
These honkers is like,
don't worry about it.
the implement.
It's
Two
That's
bad
a full-on
phrasing in
honker.
two streams. God. Is this Lysol
Sorry.
spray?
I'm trying to listen to way too many things at once.
Yeah, no, you're pulling out like triple matrix screen duty right now.
I have like
In
the
one
chat
ear,
open
it's
on
like-
my phone, my work webinar on my left, but in my right ear, blue on my right, but also red in my left ear.
Yeah, in one ear it's like, and I think that maybe we should really start approaching the mask situation. Then the other it's like, fuck goose! Oh my god!
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is actually.
Yeah.
Toothbrush.
Alright, off we try.
Oh, actually, I can just switch these around so all the stream is on my right and all my.
There's
Probably
a
less
YouTube channel called called New Frame Plus, formerly Dan of Extra Credits, who had a video on the best animation of 2019. And on it, he was explaining that the animation of the Goose and Goose game is so good. Just like the little kind of like hopping around, like the little wings, his little neck down, and the stealth waddle. The animation itself does like 75% of the comedy in the game. That if the animation itself wasn't so finely tuned to perfection, the game would not have worked as well as it did. And I completely agree with him.
Yeah, I mean, like, all the people, even without really, like, visible facial features, just by the way they walk and, like, move, you can totally get a feel for their personality and how they're feeling at any given time.
Yeah.
And then there's the goose with those soulless, beady little eyes, and it's just, like, the fluid animation, the transition between every stance is perfect.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece.
And it's a great example of how you can accomplish less with more. Because, you know, these people don't have faces, they don't have that complex shading going on. There really is not a lot, technically, that's, you know, demanding a lot of extra, you know, building time or processing power. They make the models. They're basically like, you know, trichrome. There's, you know, a shirt, pants, and then some shoes. Oh no, she has my basket. No, come, take this tomato. But the characters are also simply done that they can spend the effort on the animation, which is what really sells it. Where, you know, if the people looked slightly better, it wouldn't really make a difference. But if the animation wasn't as good as it was, the whole thing would be basically foiled. So let Goose Game be a great example of where to spend your efforts when making anything creative, because you can spend a little bit of extra time making it shiny, but consider what your efforts can best be going to.
This is a serious benefit of limited stylized animation.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before, but like when people were still figuring out computer animation, early on the goal was realism. Like that was the, you know, the peak. They were trying to get the textures realistic. They were trying to, I mean, they're still kind of doing that. But they've started to realize that like you can pursue realism or you can pursue stylization, and they're both fine, but realism is way harder.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, I mean, do you know how long it took before we could convincingly render hair? It was ages.
Yeah.
And like, they figured out subsurface scattering for skin just for Moana, and that was like only a few years ago. So, like, before that, everyone kind of looked like a plastic doll, and hair kind of looked like spaghetti. So, you know, it was like, okay, we gotta, you know, you pick your battles. And in this case, it's like, this game doesn't need to be realistic, and the stylized, charming, almost shadingless, bright colors work really well. And then, you know, any like better rendered, more realistic looking video game, half of the comedy is just gonna be when people glitch the hell out. Like,
yeah.
You know,
like you play
through a wall,
GTA
start spinning.
and Red Dead for Arthur Morgan to fall off his horse and go pinwheeling into the ether. Like, that's why you play those games.
Yep. It's like you're not looking at those games because you want to admire the animation. You want to see how quickly you can break it.
Yeah, the Adam Kovic experience.
Or the Let's Game It Out experience. I've been watching so much of that lately.
Oh my god, he's so funny. Josh
He hit
is
a million
a
yesterday.
true mastermind.
But yeah, he hit 1 million yesterday. I checked in the
Wow,
morning and it
good
was like
on him.
99K, and I was like, oh, okay. And then-
Fourth
yeah,
channel
I was like,
recommendation for the day, Let's Game It Out. The apex of just dry, deadpan, maniacal, like, super villainy on a consistent basis. No matter what game he's playing, he knows how to just demolish it, and it's so beautiful to watch.
The easiest way to get your game beta tested is just send him a key and be like, hey, want to break this live? And he's like, yes.
Yeah. Oh,
So
there's the
good.
airbrush. Ha! You'll never take me alive. Look, take my stuff back. I've won.
Yes.
Ah,
Peace was
trap the
never an
shopkeeper in the garage. Here we go. This is where we start committing
here-
crimes.
I thought
Oh,
I
that's
was
not a
having
crime.
technical difficulties, and that's why my work stream stopped. But it turns out they're having technical difficulties.
Ah.
I was like, I can't hear them. What did I do? Did I break it? So I was like doing all this troubleshooting, and I opened it back up, and I was like, oh no. You see, you have to put something she wants in there,
Yeah.
like that leak.
This carrot. Oh yeah. Wait, hold
Honk at her. There we go. Pick it up.
on. Lady, there's a leak in your garage. Come fix it.
Okay, they're working again.
Oh, come on.
Somebody stop me. I'm mad with power.
We'll let her let her write her thing first.
Lady, it looks like you don't even care at all.
What do you think the townspeople... Like, how do you think the townspeople react to this agent of chaos that they share their town with?
Everyone in this town has a sign ready with the duck crossed out. This is a recurring problem.
Foreshadowing. Yeah, no.
Duck,
Goose, sorry.
duck,
Sorry.
blue,
sorry,
are you
Goose.
sure?
Duck, goose.
Everybody
like it's
in
in the
this
title
town,
or
Is that the
anything.
last thing you need?
in this area, yeah.
Well, no, while she's in there, see if you can put the umbrella outside the shop and get her.
Yeah. Well, I need to get the kid to buy his stuff back, so I'm gonna kick his ball into the store, and then see. But yeah, everybody in this town has a sign ready for telling the goose to go away, which clearly means this is a recurring
Just scare
issue.
the kid into the store.
Do you think what happens is, like, they see the goose, like, nosing around, kind of eyeing them, and they're like, what's it planning? And then, like,
this time.
they look around.
And now he sees his airplane.
Their
Now,
things-
go get your umbrella.
Oh, God, this
No,
poor
that,
kid.
that's exactly what happens.
Like, they look around, one of their things is missing, they see you just kind of staring at them with those beady little eyes.
Yep.
Then they look around and their thing is, like, in the garage, and they're like, it's probably not a trap.
Yeah.
I mean, only a goose, it can't plan something like that, can it?
Oh my gosh. This goose was just, like, the mean business owner who was transformed into a goose because of his crimes and has to do penance, but instead of doing penance, he just took it upon himself to ruin everyone else's lives.
If I have to go down, you're all coming down with me.
Exactly.
So now if you just scare him back into the...
Yeah. Then we'll open up the
Consider,
umbrella inside
what kind
the
of-
store.
Oh, God, I'm sorry, my brain just mashed up, like, 3 different things. So you
Consider
all
the
remember the
cook-
folkloric animal bride, right?
Yeah.
The, what kind of person would the goose turn into?
Oh god.
They, like, shed their feather cloak, and it's, like, the exact same personality, only they're, like, a gorgeous human being this time. Actually, that's just Loki, isn't it?
And it's
Wow.
like, yeah, that or the real life historical Alcibiades.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright.
Ready to go.
Don't mind me. Alright, they're on the phone. Help is on the way, little boy, don't worry. I will only be causing bad luck in this store owner's shop for years to come.
Okay, person in chat who said the goose would be Brian David Gilbert. I think you're absolutely right.
Oh
I
my
think we might be
god!
onto something here.
Oh, exquisite analysis.
Either that or he was a very anxious meerkat that someone was like, that guy. I want that guy to be a person.
Oh my gosh.
50-50 odds. Oh, God. The new crack theory. What animal were these YouTubers magically transformed from by an
Oh,
amorous
no.
wizard?
Ugh.
Oh, dear. Oh, we've topped 5,000 concurrent viewers. You guys really
Wow.
like this goose.
Is that a new high score? I mean, also, like, Goose Game is the hot
Damn.
commodity on YouTube this year, so, I mean, partially not surprised, but also welcome, everybody. I hope that whether you're
Hey.
avoiding class from Zoom or avoiding work from Zoom, that you can enjoy what we have for you today.
Or maybe you are working while on Zoom while watching this.
Yeah, whatever variety of a Zoomer you are today, we hope that we can provide some entertainment and make this day a little bit
And
easier.
if your generation is also Zoomer, more power to you.
What a branding
double
victory to
Zoomer
name
power.
an entire generation off of one cloud computing teleconferencing platform.
Actually, real quick though, for those of you who are using Zoom, I hope you're aware that like a security hole got revealed semi-recently, so you know, be careful with that. And if
Yeah,
you're like, and if you're
yeah,
casting from Zoom, maybe do something else.
you can add a password, and that's probably
Sorry, go ahead.
a good idea. You can set your meeting to have a password
Yeah.
as opposed to just having a link, which might be a good. That's like what my office has been doing to help kind of prevent the problem.
First things first, I'm gonna make this man smash this vase. Hey, Mr. Guy, what's this vase over here?
Gonna steal his stuff while you're at it.
Maybe I will. Hey, listen to me when I'm honking at you.
No, you have to steal one of his things.
You talking to
Alright,
me?
fine.
You talking to me?
There you go.
Oh, here's a fun, another circling back to the Animal Brides thing.
Yeah.
Just, if y'all need a character for an urban fantasy story, not saying I haven't already conceived of this character, but, consider what happens if someone tries to make a swan bride out of one of the swans from fucking Central Park.
Yeah. The angriest
New York
bride in
swans.
existence.
Exactly.
Oh, what happened to your fence, lady? That's rough. Must be very difficult for
Tragedy.
you. Honk.
Oh.
Aha. Down it goes.
Ha!
It's destroyed. I missed it. Ah.
Oh!
It's
Curse
okay.
you.
She'll realize it in just a minute. And then you can bring the hat over.
What, me?
Huh.
Not doing anything. Would a suspicious goose do this?
I can't be this tired. It's like 3 p.m.
Oh, I'm this tired and it's 3 p.m.
I think that, like, everyone sort of needs to recognize that this is not a normal situation, and it's probably to be expected that, like, your body and brain might be burning a little more energy than normal keeping up.
Oh, definitely. It's just also still 3 p.m.
Yeah. Well, you know, I know. Listen, I never go to bed before 2 a.m., and the other night, like, 10 p.m., I was like, God, I'm so
Yeah.
tired. What's happening?
Yeah. No, but, you know, people have been kind of posting memes like, oh, you know, this staying at home is an opportunity. You know, Shakespeare wrote King Lear when he was quarantined. You know, such
Go
and
out
such wrote
the back.
something something when he was quarantined. It's like, I mean, yes, on one level, sure, but, like, just because a couple of people who were notable for many other accomplishments did something creative while stuck in a real shitty situation, i.e. plague, it doesn't mean, your shoes are wet, take that. It doesn't mean that you have to be at the peak of your game because you're inside, you know? Cleaning the house a little bit, you know, doing a little bit extra exercise is one thing, but, like, don't put the pressure on yourself to create a masterpiece just because you suddenly have the time now, because creativity is also a mindset, not just, like, having a couple spare hours, you know, every once in a while, every day or two, to take a crack at something, so...
Just do your best to shower,
Yeah.
eat food,
Like,
open a
Brush your
window.
hair.
yeah, take care of yourself, and if creativity is an escape, great, but, like, don't put the pressure on yourself of, oh, I have to be creative now. Like, no. You have to survive and stay sane. Everything else is just, you know, window dressing that can maybe make it easier for you. So,
Also, for all you
So-
people who still have to work because you're either a frontline worker or you're in retail, more props to you for staying sane through all this.
Yeah.
That must be really
Yeah.
rough.
Also, not to sass the bard, but, King Lear, not his best work. You know, I mean, I'm serious, guys. It's
No, you're
basically an
not
idiot
wrong.
plot. And
That's the best
by the way,
part.
yeah, idiot plot is a technical term. The idiot plot is any plot that could be instantly resolved if all characters involved were not morons. And King Lear falls handily into that category because the whole conflict starts because, oh god, I think it's that whole thing where the king is like, oh, my 3 daughters, tell me how much you
Oh,
love
yeah,
me. And one
yeah.
is like, I love you more than gold. And he's like, oh, nice. I love you more than silver. Oh, nice. Well, father, as your youngest and most protagonisty daughter, I love you more than salt or something. And he's like, what? Go fuck yourself. And it's like,
So
dude,
just
think
look
about
up
it
and go
for
outside.
3 seconds.
yeah. No, exactly.
How happy would you be with that salt, moron? So yeah, it's just like, you know, he was cooped up, he was stuck, he was in his own head, and he
No,
writes a
no,
story about this
ladies.
family of poor
Now.
people that make their-
Ah, curses. Like, if he wrote Macbeth
Dragon
in
stream all over the
quarantine,
place.
if he wrote, like, Macbeth or Hamlet, I'd get it, but, like, King Lear? Anyway, yeah.
Why is everyone shouting F? Reload it. Reload it. Uh-oh.
they-
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Why reload it? No.
So hold on, the stream broke for me, but I reloaded the page and it was fine.
No,
Okay.
that's why everyone's shouting reload it. I see.
Okay.
It broke for me as well, but if I open it again, it seems to be working fine. Now everyone's saying, do it, do it. The goose is Cleopatra. Why is the goose Cleopatra?
I missed that beat. These are not Cleopatra's skills as a queen manifest in Goose.
Should I go get Cleopatra?
Oh sure, if you can get her out from under the bed.
Let's see.
Yes! Yes! Introduce the newest member of the team.
So, as we kind of hinted a little while ago, Cyan and I have obtained a foster cat whose name is Cleopatra. Her favorite place in the world is underneath the bed because it is dark and cramped. She is a princess, sometimes a bit of a diva, but we love her all the same. We'll post some pictures on like Twitter and stuff in the no, give me that. It's mine. In the coming days.
I got her.
Ha.
You guys can't see her, but just know she's over here looking regal and also is mad at me that I took her out from the bed.
She's an adorable tabby. And she meows a lot. We'll see if we get one of her glorious meows here on stream.
I feel like we need to give her food for that.
very
She doesn't
long.
just perform for free.
Yeah.
Like any good
She's a
bard,
queen.
She
She knows
only,
her worth.
Yeah.
performs and promise payment.
Please, Cleopatra, do it for the exposure.
Yeah.
We've got nearly 4,700 viewers.
Oh
You wanna
God.
listen? Can you hear Red?
Hey, Cleopatra,
Yeah.
it's me. I love
As soon
you.
as you started talking, she got really concerned.
Oh, what?
Well, no,
Why
because it was a
doesn't she
human
like
voice
me?
coming out of a little earbud,
Yeah.
which
Oh.
is Cleopatra's not used to digital audio production, so she's not. She's much more of a vinyl
she's gonna-
kind of cat.
Oh, I see. She's like, you just can't get the same audio quality from an
Yeah,
earbud.
exactly.
Do you want to try one? You want to listen to my work stream instead? No? Yeah. Oh, belly rubs.
She's a very good cat.
Oh God. Help me, guys. I can't pet the cat.
You have to just come visit, like, in several months.
Not yet. How could you? Come on, man.
Sorry, that was a low
I'm gonna
blow.
take a Sophie road trip.
Do you want me to tweet a picture of her?
We can use one of our. We had a blep from the other day.
Yeah,
That was
I
pretty
have
good.
a really good blep. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tweet with no context on my Twitter a picture of Cleopatra doing a blep, maybe a couple
Yes.
pictures,
And then,
and then one picture of her looking really regal.
yeah.
So if you don't follow me on
Oh, wait.
Twitter,
Ha!
you still don't
Spit on that
follow
tea.
me on
Ha!
Twitter, but
Take
you have
that.
to at least find my Twitter. It's another scavenger hunt. There will be no contextual information, just 4 pictures of a cat. So yeah, that's just gonna be tweeted right now. Good
And
luck.
then we will
Amazing.
tweet officially a couple pictures of Cleopatra, maybe today or tomorrow. We were waiting to get some good pictures as time went on. Let's see, do we do everything? Oh, no, we did not. Get dressed up with a ribbon, that's right. We have to do the full stealth mission right now.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You might be hearing Cleopatra's bell,
Yeah.
because we have a little collar with a tiny bell on it.
Because
so that we
otherwise
can-
she would run away and hide, and we wouldn't be able to find her because she's sneaky and stealthy.
Yes.
Okay, to the person in the chat who suggested that they get a dog and name it Bark Anthony, you're a genius.
You're a genius. Unfortunately, this tiny apartment that we live in does not allow dogs, but does allow one cat. Just one.
Oh my God, Bark Anthony, that is
Okay.
exquisite.
No, but here's what you need to do. You need to get 3 more cats that all look like Cleopatra, and then make sure that they only see one at a time.
I mean, no one really comes into this apartment ever, but like,
There
it's
we
already
go.
a pretty
It's
small
foolproof.
apartment. Like, it's a studio.
It's
I don't know if we could fit a
Yeah.
dog.
victory. We have defeated the
fair.
woman.
I had
Once more
I had a friend in high school who had between 2 and 4 fluffy white cats. I don't know how many he had because I only ever saw 2 at a time, but sometimes he called them by different names, so I think there might have been more than 2.
Right, is this the same friend that I'm thinking of?
She can't
Probably.
reach her phone for
Yeah.
this.
But for a long time, I only thought I'd ever seen
Yeah.
one of them because they were they looked the same. I'm like, oh, this is always the one that I always thought it was. And then apparently he's like, no, you've seen both of them. I'm like, what? I was so shocked.
Yeah. He'd be like, yeah, one of them has a slightly shyer personality. And it's like, how am I supposed to tell that?
Yeah.
What, to the people being like, this wasn't much of a scavenger hunt, that was a joke. I hope you understand that. I know it's not that hard to find my Twitter. It's literally cyan blue.
Just gonna take that.
But the blue is spelled secret.
It's spelled like blue.
I'll
because
make it
we're
easy
from
for you.
Imaginary friends. But yes, I know it was not that hard.
Yep.
I wanted you to find pictures of our adorable kitten.
Joke's on you, you saw pictures of our cat.
Are you doing your little Jamaican pose?
Yeah, instead of like cat loafing, Cleopatra sometimes like
back and then you
hunches
know what?
up so that she
you
looks
go.
like a roast chicken almost, like the same like posture and like leg placement. It's very weird, but she feels comfortable in that pose. So I guess that's how it is. Oh, what?
beautiful.
Oh, other foot. Move. Put your weight on the other foot so I can steal your sandal.
No, wait, just give him a minute. He'll switch.
Ugh.
Because he sits the other way while drinking tea.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, drink your tea in your false sense of security.
Hi. You want belly rubs? You want belly rubs? Yeah, you do. Sorry, I've completely given up on both work and the stream to play with the cat.
Cleopatra has a 1,000-yard stare right now. She's in peak zen
The minute
mode.
we introduce the cat.
Is the cat your baby? Yes. See?
Na.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ow. Bah.
Have you
Take that.
posted the photos yet? I did post the photos. If you find my Twitter, you can see the photos.
I'll retweet it. Give me a minute. I'm just
Enjoy
finding
your
a
damp
section.
sandals, peasant.
A new to-do list item. Is this where you mess up the rows?
Make someone prune the prize rose.
Ah, I'm gonna fuck it up.
Yep.
I just realized this retweet is gonna make no sense to anyone not watching the stream.
To
Well,
be fair,
that's why I gotta watch the streams.
That's fine.
yeah, my original tweet also included zero information.
Well, mine just includes a kitty face, so, you know.
Good.
Good.
I was
We
just
must
like,
maintain her aura of mystery.
Cleo Bio. Are you making bread on Blue's leg?
Yep. She's just pawing at my left leg. It's fine.
Here's,
Oh.
okay, here's the thing. I love cats, but I cannot handle the stabby needy thing they do.
That's
Like,
fair.
it's just, I don't understand how anyone can. It hurts a lot.
Here's your rose.
Yeah. I'm also just allergic enough to them that if I spend like 8 hours in the room with like a beautiful fluffy cat, it's possible that one of my eyes might swell shut. It's not a big deal, but you know.
Yeah, basically she's a pretty short-haired cat, and she likes being brushed,
Yes.
so she's not getting too much cat hair everywhere. You know, as far as cats
That's
don't
good.
get too much cat hair anywhere.
Right, yeah. A couple of my cousins have this like really chunky orange cat, and when I was hanging out with them at one point, cat just kind of slowly came in, hopped up where I was sitting, curled into a ball on my lap, like fully eclipsed my lap,
Yeah.
and sat there for 15 minutes, and I was like, I can't move, but so beautiful, magnificent.
It's like that old story about, you know, two lovers, one of whom fell asleep, and when the other one had to get up, instead of like moving and making the other person get up, he like cut off half of his like ceremonial like robe
Right,
thingy
his
that was
sleeve.
worth like thousands of dollars in 3 entire kingdoms, and was like, no, better this than they wake up.
I'm gonna see if I can find that story because I know what you're talking about, and I think the details are probably adorable. Hang on.
All right, what are we doing
Ooh,
here?
You're getting all these compliments on Twitter. Look.
Oh.
Yeah, look at that.
All right,
That you?
do the washing
Cleo.
with
Hey,
bra,
Cleo
pair of
Vivo,
socks,
is that
slipper,
you?
and a bar of soap.
found the story. It's adorable. It's a story about a gay studio owner who falls in love with a fox spirit, and then they get reborn as a government official and the lover of another gay official, respectively.
Ah,
And it's just about how in love and gay they are. That's the entire story.
yes, I've also read the Iliad.
It's from like 1740.
Amazing.
This is amazing. Video when? That's probably my responsibility.
Stealing your mail. Take that. Do the washing.
Yeah, you have to put the bra, the pair of socks, and the slipper, and the soap all into the little pond.
Oh, God, I forgot about that. Oh, I have to go around again? Oh, nuts, I've been locked out. Oops.
No, you don't. You just go down the road.
Oh, yeah, I can go around. Okay, alright. All is not lost.
The game is really good about not soft locking you out of anything.
Yeah.
Oh, while we're talking about cool stuff I might want to make a video about, so I found this cool cursed sword from Norse mythology, and by found I do not mean actually owned, sadly. But it's called like Tierfing or something, and it's basically this guy like forced some dwarves to forge him a sword, but obviously if you force the dwarves to forge you anything, they get pissy and make it cursed. So it's like, here, we made you a sword, and it'll be beautiful and glowy, but also it'll kill a man every time you draw it. It'll be the cause of 3 great evils, and it will kill you, guy who made us make this. And he's like,
Nice.
what the fuck? But then it's just like this saga of a whole bunch of people like getting the sword. And one of them, the reason why I looked this up is somebody mentioned this character and I was like, what the fuck? I have to look this up. Is this lady named Hervor who like pulls a Mulan, dresses up like a guy, goes off and does like Viking shit, like pillaging, murder, all that jazz. Finds out that her father had Tierfing the cursed sword, summons his ghost, makes him give her the sword, and he's like, don't, it'll cause problems. She's like, fuck you, dad, and then she gets the sword, and then, like, it goes more Viking, and then peacefully retires, has a couple kids, lives out the rest of her life with her husband, and then, like, her son gets the cursed sword, and it ruins his life. So, honestly, everything kind of worked out for her.
Yeah.
She got her wild 20s out of the way with some Viking.
Take that, kid. That's a missed plot opportunity in Infinity War, that the dwarf guy didn't make the Infinity Gauntlet somehow cursed. Would have been a lot more interesting if he did.
Oh, a lot of things about Infinity War would have been a lot more interesting if they'd done something else. But
Yeah.
get into that. I've seen people be like, what are your thoughts on Infinity War and Endgame? And it's like, what are your thoughts on toast?
I like toast.
Functional.
Then again,
I also like
liked
toast,
Infinity
but
War
you know,
and
could be
Endgame.
more interesting.
Toast was
Could have
also better than
jam.
the last season of Game of Thrones and Star Wars Episode 9.
Ooh. Oh,
Woo!
that's some fighting words.
That's some spicy toast.
Yep.
I didn't realize you like chili pepper on your toast. I can put that. I can make breakfast next time with that.
Ugh.
Hi, Kitty.
I've been watching, Sign and I have been rewatching. I watched the first 2 episodes of Clone Wars on Red's suggestion and then realized I had Disney Plus, so I didn't need to
Bootleg.
do, yeah. Then I was like, oh wait, I can watch this in native HD. Okay, cool. But watching over the first 2 episodes and I'm like, this is the last season of this show. Why are they introducing new characters? We have so many established characters. Where are they? So I'm curious to see where the rest of the season goes. And I'm like, give me my Kenobi content. This is the only reason that I'm here.
It was for Kenobi.
I
Yes.
have heard that I have heard that the second arc is like more fillery, but the first one with the Bad Batch was amazing.
It was pretty cool.
Um,
I'm worried if
yeah.
the second arc is more fillery
Well,
than this.
I don't mind the
Ow.
Bad Batch arc.
I like the Bad Batch because I like how they were like, oh yes, we selected these guys because they've got beneficial mutations like leader, lancer, big guy, and smart guy.
They've evolved Team Comp.
Oh no! Team
Yeah.
Comp! Okay.
No!
What was the last thing? Is it just that, or is there something else you need?
And a bar of soap.
Oh, and the slippers.
A slipper, okay.
Just one. So you
Just-
might want to
just
get
the
the
one.
soap and
Yeah,
then the
soap
slipper.
first.
Hi, I'm sorry, am I not petting you enough?
She's like
Assigned
nudging us.
lancer at
Hi.
killing me here. Fine, I'll just pet my plushie Shiba that I have in my recording setup.
Oh, that's a very good
I guess
Shiba.
I'll just have to make do. It is. Honestly, this recording setup is very pettable in like a lot of ways. Because you know, there's the Shiba, but also in order to soundproof the desk surface, I got like this faux fur kind of blanket thing,
Mhm.
which is actually extremely soothing to run my fingers over while I'm recording. So
Nice.
it's honestly just pretty good. Yeah, yeah.
I am
not a real
currently
cat, though.
waiting for a new desk, so I'm gonna try to trick it out when it arrives. I think that'll be exciting. I'm gonna mimic some of your set design tips because that's a mighty fine recording studio that you've got.
Honestly, I'm amazed it worked out as well as it did.
We'll need to set up a decoy laptop for the cat though, because when she's not
yeah.
being a snuggle puss on the couch, she likes to get in places. Oh no,
Oh,
no nips.
yeah.
I think my hand still smells like milk.
Oh.
Oh,
She went to lick it, and then I moved it, and then she nipped at it, but then she just licked it because she felt bad.
Yeah, we gave Cleo a very small ramekin of milk today, and she enjoyed it very much.
Yeah. A lot of adult cats are lactose intolerant, so you don't really want to give them too much milk, but you know, just a teeny bit as a treat.
This
Aw.
is
A
a
treat?
Metal Gear game.
Blue, she's hugging your leg.
Aw.
Yes!
Metal Goose.
Excellent, Snake.
Metal Goose solid. That's the game. Get on it, Namco.
Hi.
Ah.
You want me to get your toy?
Wait, no, which game does the Metal Gear games? Is it Namco? No, Konami. Sorry, Jesus, what's wrong with me?
Tommy, yeah.
What do I got? What we got? Boop-a-doop-a-doop.
She has
You know
one
what? I'm gonna say it.
fluffy
David
toy,
Hayter.
which is the most-
Oh,
No, sorry, go ahead.
good. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say it. David Hayter should have been playing Snake for all the games, and I
Oh.
don't know why they swapped him out for Kiefer Sutherland in Metal Gear 5.
Absolutely. He should have.
Yeah.
This is the apex of stealth.
Oh man, I saw. Oh, I don't think you were there for this because it was C2E2, and you hadn't been to C2E2 in a while. But
Not since like the
I
first
was
or second
there-
year it ever started.
Right. But I was there one year, and there was this huge voice acting panel at the end. It had like Steve Blum and Jennifer Hale and David Hayter and just a whole bunch of people, and it was mostly just an open Q&A. And there was this really funny somebody went up and they were like, "This is a question for David Hayter. Does it hurt you to do the Snake voice?" And he just goes, "No," into the mic. But yeah, and he and Jennifer Hale had this little conversation about how he's like, "Well, I'm not the only Snake anymore," and she was like, "Well, you are the best one," and I was like, "God, this is adorable.
Aw.
What are you people doing to me?" Yeah. Such a
We've
sweet
officially
guy.
surpassed 1,000 followers. Why do you guys follow me? I don't post. I appreciate all of you who do follow me on Twitter, but also why?
Yeah.
What do you want? Why are you here? Is it
Cat
just for
pictures.
Okay.
Cat
I'll
pictures.
try to tweet more cat pictures without context.
Get the toy boat, make the old man fall from his bum. Okay. First we have destroyed your pastime, now we will destroy your spine.
Because of the cat. Yes. Okay. Because we can. Because of the cat. I guess that answers that question.
Yep.
Oof.
How man has fallen.
Old man has fallen.
I like the idea of Goose just being very Shakespearean eloquent in how he fucks with people. He just does the silliest thing.
Oh, go get your ribbon.
No, well, the ribbon's so far away.
No,
I
it's
gotta
right
get the...
there.
That's not the ribbon.
Oh, go get the flower.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But the Goose just has all these back pocket speeches ready for whenever he accidentally, or not accidentally, but purposely makes someone hammer their thumb or throw a dart in the wrong place. That's my interpretation of Goose.
Guy falls on his butt and the Goose goes, "Now is the winter of our discontent."
Steal a pint glass and drop it in the canal. Oh gosh.
Vanity, vanity, all is vanity. And they're like, "What the fuck? Do you hear something?"
It just comes across as very soft honking.
Oh, grab it. You gotta grab it.
I'm trying.
Yep,
There we go.
But it's not the way out.
Remember when we were worried this wouldn't fill 2 hours?
Oh yeah. Have we already been going? Okay, yeah. Oh, I broke it.
Yeah, it's
Whoops.
glass.
We've already gone 1 hour, and I don't think we're halfway done.
We're over halfway done.
Here, grab that glass right
Okay.
there, and then hide under a table and go out the proper
Yeah.
way. No, that.
Well, I'm just gonna hide, wait for the boat to come out. Yeah, point at me. Do what you want. It solves nothing.
Sorry. I just remembered I watched all 3 Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, and now my brain is just imagining the Goose going, "You see, Spider-Man, this is why only fools are heroes." Because you never know when some maniac's gonna come along with a sadistic choice.
Oh my
Just
god.
you hear something?
Yes, Goose.
That Goose is really honking it up.
The Goose has a pint glass in one hand and a bow tie in the other. It's now choose. What you gonna do? This will have to be animated at some point. There are too many bits to not catch up on.
I'll get to it.
Give me the boat. 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 The boat. Ha!
Get under the table. Get under the table.
I'm trying. I'm trying. There. Ah!
Well, the boat's under the table. So you go under the table. There you go.
Hey!
Until she turns around. Now get under that table.
Yep.
And then get the boat. Yo, you gotta go fast before she steals the boat. Do. Grab it. Yep, you got it.
Cool. All right. Well, I got the boat. Steal a pint glass and drop it in the canal. Okay.
You also
okay.
have to set the table.
Oh, that means I have to get back out. I'm gonna try to set the table first. Yeah. Knife, fork, plate, pepper, candle. Oh. Complex.
Run as fast as you can.
Goose looks somebody dead in the eye and just goes, nevermore. And then the rest of the game it's just honking.
Honk the raven, nevermore.
Oh, there's a plate right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Quoth the goose. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend.
Honk. God.
Just keeps going. Quoth the goose. And the goose, never flitting, still is sitting. Stealing my quills and shit.
By famed author Ed Goose Allan Poe. Okay, let's see. Fork. Or knife, pepper,
You guys can't pick
candle.
and choose between Shakespeare and Poe. They're both amazing. Ladies, you're both classical author.
Don't you have a fork?
No, I need a knife.
There you go. Under the table.
Peace was never an option.
Chat, I agree. The goose should absolutely cask of Amontillado at least one of the villagers.
Oh my gosh. So in character.
I mean, honestly, yeah, and like the order of operations can even show up as like the objective list in the game.
Oh my gosh. Get Amontillado, get your friend to go down. Start sealing bricks.
No,
and then
the
when they're like-
Amontillado's not real. Lure them down. Yeah.
And then when they're like, hey, what about that Amontillado? You just honk at them to taunt. Pepper and candle.
For the love of God,
Over to
Montresor!
the right, I
Whack.
think, right? Oh no.
I mean, the Amontillado is real. It's just buried in there. It's just no.
Yeah,
You
there's
need
the
to
candle.
look really hard to get it.
Probably
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like definitely
the
probably
real
there.
Amontillado would.
Go down there. Oh no! You fucked up! You fucked up!
Nope. This is calculated.
I calculated fuck up.
The real Amontillado was the friends we buried along the way.
Wait, no, that's illegal. Red, no, that's illegal. There you go. Now, where's the pepper? I forget.
I feel like this is a you suck at cooking video. Some
You-
pepper.
You suck at. Oh, there it is.
Where?
Up there.
Up?
Right
Ah.
there. Yeah, all the way to the
What?
Oh,
What?
hey,
Ah.
hey,
What?
hey. You suck at stealing. Yeah, you totally suck.
Huh. Thou canst stop me, fiend. Oh, Red, I love
Turn,
this emoji face
hellhound.
you created for Cleo. Meh.
Oh, thanks. I have it saved as a text replacement on my phone.
Someone commented that the markings around her eyes look like Egyptian makeup, and that is, in fact, why we ended up going with Cleo. We were on the fence. We're like, her eyeliner is so on point. She's got to be a Cleocatra.
Yes. And someone tweeted, I have the same model with a picture of a nearly identical cat.
Aww. All tabbies are perfect.
Oh, beautiful.
Except for the ones that are, like, criminals.
I mean, Cleo's already broken one picture frame.
Cleo's broken a picture frame, and if given the opportunity, she would commit tax evasion.
She's a white collar criminal.
Yeah. It's like, you know,
not
insider
tax evasion.
trading, like, the stuff that doesn't hurt anybody, but is still, like, super illegal.
What? Oh, yes, now you have to do the tomatoes.
Oh, she's going for her no goose sign.
Alright, time to get the sign
That
out again,
sign can't
Larry.
That sign can't stop me because I can't read.
Oh my gosh, this game is so good, and we're still peaking with almost 5,000 viewers. This is amazing. I'm glad that you all enjoy this nonsense so much.
Yeah.
This is why we're here, to make every day a little bit easier with goose content.
Goose, cats,
That good goose
sarcasm.
content. Shakespeare quotes, you know.
Maybe
all
some
the things
hoe.
we need
Mix
in
it
life.
Up a little.
Oh yeah. For the love of God, honk Tresor.
Honk. I'm too business oriented. I'm trying to do all these tasks. I'm not focusing on just honking to ruin people's days. I really let slip the true aim of my ambitions here. Get rid of this box. Nuts. Oh, are you unsetting the table? Oh, how much extra work for you.
Honestly, I kind of like how, you know, they get upset with you, but mostly they just kind of like sigh and fix whatever you messed up, and then they're like, it's that goose again. We don't know what he's doing this time. It's some kind of picnic? Avant-garde art piece? We don't know. We just need those tomatoes back.
You know how sometimes, like, small towns have, like, dogs as their mayors? What if this goose is actually the mayor of the town, and they can't, like, do anything about it because he's, like, legally protected?
That's why the most they do is, like, get upset and take back your stuff.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, fine, I'll put it away. But they're just completely powerless to stop it.
Goose was elected mayor by unanimous vote, and they suspect fraud, but nobody could find out how he did it.
It's like, he ruins everything about the way our town is run, but oh my god, he balances our books so well. We haven't had a deficit in 12 years.
Listen, he's a little eccentric, but he does good work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am the Senate.
Sheev Frank the Senate Palpatine Sidious, my favorite character in Star Wars.
Oh, someone just pointed out she has a little scarab
the
on her
name.
head.
Oh my god, she has a scarab on
What?
her head.
Keeps getting better.
Thank you, Paper on Twitter. You are totally correct.
Oh, gotta get out, Okay. We're free, we're safe. I'm gonna pour myself some tea and attempt not to spill it.
Sweet freedom.
Do-do, do-do. I'll take some too if you're pouring.
Oh, yes I am. Try to stop me. Yeah, you can't. Go get the pepper in your vain quest.
You still have to drop the mug in the river.
Yeah, that's I think what I gotta do last. Ooh. Oh, you gonna stop me? Nope. You can't. You're powerless. I'm the mayor of this town. My authority will not be challenged. Decrees are issued by Honk.
Now it switched over to Les Mis, because there's that. That's my favorite stupid time skip, where it's like, oh, I'm on the run and I'm free, and then 18 years later, hey, what's up, bitches? I'm the mayor somehow.
Yeah.
What?
I run a factory of repute. I am the mayor of this town.
I really appreciate the opportunities for upward mobility in mid-1800s revolutionary France.
Everyone is like starving and sick and miserable and singing about how bad their lives are, and then there's Valjean, who's just like, oh man, just got out of prison, time for my career in politics.
Yeah.
You know,
Just gonna become
like most
rich.
people that get out of prison. No.
And
I mean,
yeah, guys, bootstrap it. It's
like,
not that hard.
this goose has obviously done time before he was mayor.
Who am I? Who am I? Goose.
Yeah. Oh god, it's that duet, you know, Valjean, at last we see each other plain, but the other piece is just the goose going, "Quack."
Do not forget me, 2460 honk.
Oh god.
Men like you can never change, men like you can never change, Quack. 24601. Oh god, it's too workable.
Look down,
You can't
look
just
down,
take him out of there,
don't
or
look
if
him
you'll
in
keep
the
putting them
eye.
in there,
Look
you have to take
down,
more out
look
of the one on the
down,
left.
you'll honk until you die.
Yeah, you're gonna have to take
It
more
works
out
so
of the
well.
inside.
Yeah.
Because if you keep taking him out of
It
there,
does!
he'll just keep taking him back out.
Alright, we need Goose Les Mis crossover now. Make it happen, Hugo. That was Victor Hugo, right?
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then who was the guy who wrote Les Mis?
We're illiterate.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, Victor Hugo is an anagram for
Goose.
evil honk.
It's because you don't know his middle name, then you can spell out I am Lord Voldemort.
That's the most incredible detail of the translation, is that every version of Tom Riddle's name translates or like anagrams to that language's version of I am Lord Voldemort.
Well, that's because they changed his
Yes, we
middle name.
Voldemort.
Yeah.
Elvis in the French version.
I mean, let's be real. Marvelo's not a great middle name either.
Oh, why not?
I'm just thinking.
It kind of sounds like a stage.
Oh, our stream may have cut for a second, but okay, we're good.
No, I'm still getting it.
But I'm just thinking back to My Immortal, where it's like, and it was Tom Bombadil, just crossing over your universes there for a hot second.
I was on the fence, but I think it has to have been a joke. Like, I mean, there's a few reasons, and I could probably go full conspiracy board, but like, there's a couple reasons. One, the spelling takes a sharp nosedive around like chapter 3 or 4 when it becomes clear that the misspellings are like the funniest part.
Yeah.
So that makes me think it was purposeful. And 2, the second chapter starts with "Stop flamming, you prebs," blah blah blah. Like, the first chapter is like, "Oh, I hope you like my story," and then by the second one, she's like, "Oh, stop leaving mean comments, guys," which makes me think that it was like, well, I can't say stop leaving mean comments before the story's begun, but you know, chapter 2, that seems fine. So, I mean, how many people really found this one goofy Harry Potter fanfic by the first chapter to leave like mean comments?
You know, that's entirely valid. For me, what did
Yeah.
it was the inconsistencies of spelling even within characters, where, like, Cornelius Fudge shows up as Cornelius Fudge until he's Cornelio Fuck, which is way too funny to be an accident.
Your mom's
Oh.
It's Cornelia for.
My mom was watching
Yeah, I see
us
it.
play Goose Game on her big screen TV. Nice.
Oh, beautiful.
All right, good. All right, we're
Oh.
steal a pint glass into the canal. That's right. Yeah. No, Cornelio Fuck was easily the funniest part of that entire story.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that I want to shit next to her was my favorite, but
Yeah.
you know.
Oh my gosh. What
So
a
many
masterpiece of
beautiful
literature.
moments. Honestly, yeah. Like the reason why I was on the fence is like it takes a lot of work to do like purposefully bad humor that isn't a little bit tongue in cheek, you know? Like oh man, I don't remember there's like a Cosmonaut Variety Hour video about this show called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. I don't remember if I sent that to you.
Maybe?
But it's like the whole thing is on YouTube. Although I think it's age restricted. And it was a purposefully terrible show that actually managed to pull it off completely straight-facedly the whole time. It was
Wow.
the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Like, everything sucks about it. The cinematography is terrible. Like, the scenes on the roof are very clearly like a model with a painted backdrop, and the
Oh.
acting is awful, but it's like awful in unique ways for everybody. Yeah, so like that's the only one I've seen where it was like purposefully terrible and it never kind of like winked at the camera. And you know, by contrast, something like Kung Fury has an 80s aesthetic but doesn't actually look like it could have been made in the 80s or
Yes.
would have been made in the 80s. Like it's silly, but it's kind of silly in like a wink wink nudge nudge mecha eagle robot Hitler, you know, that kind of thing. But
It's just sidebar. Kung Fury is still so good.
Sorry,
Oh, it's
entirely
incredible.
different sidebar. If you wanted
Yes.
Victor Hugo to be able to turn into something containing the words evil goose, it would have to be Mr. H. Evil Goose Cut, and his middle name would have to be Meals.
Great.
In case anyone was wondering.
I think his middle name is Marie.
Well, honestly, we're not that far.
Not that far. Where did I lie? Where was my lie?
So yes, I just spent way more time than necessary on that.
Yep.
You're welcome. Kaiju, you're correct.
Yeah, Goose Kaiju is a great subgenre of the kaiju formula. I'm sure Guillermo del Toro would be really pleased with my reinvention of this storied and very, very dramatic type of media.
I think Rodan is supposed to be a bird-like kaiju.
Really?
I think.
Why are you?
I mean,
thinking
he's
of-
kind of pterodactyl-y.
Are you just doing destruction for funzo?
Yeah, no, this is just for fun, so we only have to get the bell.
Well, but if you get the bell, then you get the extra bonus.
Yes, we do. You could have stopped at just one bell. You should have stopped at just one bell.
Honk. Goose is God. Goose
Oh, the
is
model village, model village. Whoa. Meta.
Oh!
What? Also, where's the real life
Model
castle
village.
then?
Here.
No.
Because
If
this is
this
the
is the
model
model-
castle.
But this is the model village, so that's the model village. So here's the model village castle.
Oh shit, that means there is a big castle.
like-
Whoa. Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
Chat, help me
Oh.
out here. Is there a real castle that we can visit? Also, people are subscribing to my YouTube channel. There's nothing there.
Every once in a while, I get subscribers, and I'm like, I haven't posted a video in about 7 years since I used to do, like, Assassin's Creed podcasts. You're not gonna
Oh,
get
wow.
anything on this channel.
Yep, pull the.
Pull up the thing.
You got it. You got it.
Zoom in, dramatic angle. Dun, 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 dun. Honk. Come on.
It's going. It's going. It's
Now that's
going.
like-
Lend me your energy.
Ah!
Press Y to honk with me.
I can only get
Oh,
one.
the tea is ready.
Woo! That's what I call the fall of the House of Usher, am I right?
Hey.
Hey,
Get it all the way
okay.
back home.
Except this time it didn't take like 40 minutes to explain everything about the house first.
I fucking hate that book so much. I mean, I don't. It's well written and creepy, and like, it's surprisingly Lovecraftian. Like, Poe's brand of horror is normally kind of its own thing, but the fall of the House of Usher is like inexplicably creepy. It's like, wait, was the house alive? Was it actually the fungus? Why was it glowing? But it's also like way too goddamn long.
Ooh, there we go. Red, this reminds me of a conversation we had a while ago, which is basically to the point of Poe is undeniably a master, even though obviously not all of his works are winners. Lovecraft is kind of in a funny spot because the best works in the Lovecraft mythos are all things that he did not write.
Can you not go around the back way?
Yeah.
No, because they lock it off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
specifically go
so
through.
many, like, there were a bunch of contemporary horror writers that recognized that Lovecraft was onto something. Like, The Hounds of Tindalos isn't written by Lovecraft, I think. Oh crap, who else?
Discord
Oh
ping.
man,
Oh yeah, so did I.
oh.
That's
Oh
good.
no, I got a Discord. ping.
Ah, right, because we're
Ah.
okay,
Yes,
never mind.
so we actually have to use so many different setups to get this running that I am also in one Discord call.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Poe is undeniably a master. Definitely. Poe is undeniably a master. Probably one of America's best of probably all time. And then there's Lovecraft, where it's like he was so onto so many things, but everyone else who wrote in Lovecraft style kind of did it better.
We have the big
Yeah,
Lovecraft
it's
book in
like-
the bookshelf.
Yeah. Like, Lovecraft had so much fear in him that,
Yeah.
that he could come up with these absolutely horrifying concepts, but he also had so much fear in him that he wasn't like a functional human being. Whereas
Yeah.
these other writers were like, you're onto something here. There's some really good creepy cosmic horror here. What if I wrote it without also being like a xenophobic nightmare, anxiety-riddled, shut-in with horrible, horrible problems? And that's how you get stuff like the Hounds of Tyndalos and the King in Yellow and like the people who tried coming up with a coherent mythos because like
I can't.
Okay, keep going. I will follow you.
Cool.
And then just go to the left, right?
I don't think this one's gonna work. I think it's locked.
Heck.
Curses. Anyway, yeah. It's neat to see how like one writer can start with a tone or an idea, and other people can run with it. You see everybody in the classical world had their take on Homer, but really only Virgil's ended up sticking because only he took the formula of epic and did something transformational enough that it became valuable in itself rather than just being, oh, this is someone's good attempt to knock off Homer. It's like, no, Virgil is clearly like on his own thing and, working at his own style that is not just another epic, but is something so much more. It's cool to see how that
But
kind
that's
of
interesting.
thing happens.
And the interesting thing is, whenever a writer comes up with something like new, like really new, you get a lot of people who are like, you get a lot of people who are like, wow, that's amazing. I have to do something like that. And then they end up sort of following the parameters set by the original writer, who probably didn't do those on purpose. Like the art that you create and the art that people see are not the same thing. Like the things you focus on are not the things that the audience focuses on. So, people will write these genre-defining works and be focusing on one thing, and then the audience of future writers are looking at this like, wow, these are the iconic parts of that. And then they'll make something out of those. So Tolkien is my go-to example, obviously, because having just recently dove into how he handled like the languages of his world and how he wrote an entire explanation for why it's written in modern English, which was, well, I found this story. I found this book written in the language of Western, and I translated it into English, and I localized all the names. Frodo's name isn't even Frodo, and it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Maura. But yeah, for Tolkien, it was clearly about the mythos and the language, and then everyone looking was like, elves! Hell yeah!
Yeah.
So, but then you get like Lovecraft, where for him it was clearly about like, I am terrified all the time of everything, especially people, and also the horror of the unknown. And then the people looking at it were like, oh, cool, elder gods, secret fish cults, New England, I get you. And then they started building, this genre out of it that actually really worked because it like twigged onto all the things that were freaking him out, but not all the things that were freaking him out. And they ended up constructing this. It's one of the only cases, I think, where like almost all of the derivative works that survived are like better than some of the original source material, because like Lovecraft has this tendency to assume that the things he finds horrifying are inherently horrifying, and thus
like
he doesn't need to explain.
How are you supposed to get out now?
Yeah. But because of that, it's like he doesn't need to explain why they're horrifying. So it's like, oh, and he was Asian. What? And it's like, Lovecraft, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But then the others are like, here's a secret fish cult. They're slowly turning into fish, and you're like, that's pretty creepy. And he's like, and this is a metaphor for me finding out that I'm Welsh. And it's like, Lovecraft.
God.
What about? But it's like the later writers were like, I need to actually demonstrate why this is horrifying. I need to build creeping dread that will apply to somebody who's like not an anxious mess. And so you end up with these derivative works that are almost better than the original because they have like less baggage. But a lot of the time when you get these derivative genres, they carry more baggage.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm writing fantasy, so there have to be elves, and the elves have to be like Tolkien's elves, and there have to be dwarves, and they have to be Scottish, and it's like, no, none of those are necessary. They're just aesthetic
Dwarves
trimming.
are no longer Scottish. Dwarves are now from New England.
Oh yeah.
Dwarves are every
Thick
Patriots
Boston
fan.
accent. Oh god.
Even funnier, dwarves are from Philly. People from Philly, don't at me in the comments. You know it's true. Oh no, he has the bell!
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. What'll he think when I take his mug?
But yeah, I think the creation of these subgenres after one like landmark work is really interesting to watch because all of the works that really succeed spawn off their own landmark work. So it's like, oh, I wrote this dystopia. Well, I wrote this completely different dystopia because of that. And they spawned off completely different subgenres because even though I was structuring it based on what I learned from this story, the impact it had was completely different.
Yeah.
Oh man. You know who I feel bad for? Fucking Hunger Games. Where the whole point was like the commercialization of the apocalypse. You know, it's all about how there's real suffering, but you have to like play it up for the cameras in order to survive, and isn't that fucked up? And then the movie. Oh, the movie.
Movies, all 4 of them.
Oh yeah.
All 4 of them. All 4
They did
them.
the 2-part.
Back when everyone had like an episode. Yeah, the 2-part thing, and it was so worth
But
it.
even on a smaller scale, we can look at as an example, Marvel and DC, and like, you know, Deadpool and Suicide Squad, where a new genre is kind of unwittingly created, and then the people who come after it learn basically all of the wrong lessons from it. So with Deadpool, it's like, oh, make it R-rated. Okay, yeah, no, we can do that. And then you get Suicide Squad because you don't recognize what actually makes it work, which is the characterization. And then you have something like, you know, the MCU, where DC is like, oh yeah, we can have an Avengers team. We'll just throw a bunch of characters together. Everyone likes Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. It's fine. And then it's like, no, you actually have to make the characters good. That's kind of where this whole thing comes together. Yeah, that's why they're called characters. We care about them. That's not etymologically sound, but
Wildly not. Let's be real. What happened is DC was like, yeah, everyone loves Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, I guess. And you know, come on, that's actually what happened.
Yeah.
Not wrong.
The better comparison between Deadpool and DC is like Suicide Squad. They were like, okay, we got it. Make it R-rated. Paint the medium. Break the fourth wall. Colors. Characters. And then Birds of Prey was like, okay, you know what we need? We need tongue-in-cheek narration from a character who's willing to break the fourth wall. We need some R-rated violence, and we need a really charismatic lead. And it actually kind of works. Like it's very clearly Deadpool for her, but you know it works.
Okay, one of my best friends just texted me and was like, seriously, what's wrong with Philly? And I'm like, what's wrong with dwarves?
Is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this Indigo?
No, it's Dominique.
No? Oh, sorry. I didn't actually read it.
Turns out we have a lot of friends from Philly. I'm not gonna say that on this stream, Dim.
I've said worse. I'm sure you can repeat that text out loud.
No.
Okay.
Blue might say that on the stream, but I'm not gonna say that on the stream.
Somebody stop me. I'm a mad goose on the loose. No, it's my bell.
Stop me.
Anyway, yeah, people learning the wrong lessons of genre while trying to ape the aesthetics of something without actually twigging on to any of the substantive qualities of what makes something good is a very difficult thing to unpack, and it's made a lot easier when we can basically look at very representative examples of that in media, and seeing it happen with the DC and Marvel movies very recently is helpful to see it kind of in like a microcosm, whereas like with the Lovecraft and the Poe stuff, we kind of have to see over a period of years, decades, and over a century in some cases. It's neat to look at how you're gonna stop me, asshole? Yeah, run away, dick. It's neat to see how genre evolves and changes, and even in video games you can look at this with like the Soul genre of people have been aping the Dark Souls formula without actually creating any substantive differences, and you get, this game is hard, therefore it's a Souls-like. It's like, no. It's hard, but it's fair. It is designed to make you understand the mechanics rather than just this boss has a lot of health. Like when JoCat was on our stream 2 weeks ago and he said all the bosses in Hollow Knight are extremely fair, that's probably one of the things that makes it most realistically, Souls-like, if we want to call it that, because it specifically is creating a game that you can beat and you want to feel accomplished when you do. It's not like, oh yes, it's gritty and also hard. There's a lot more in a game design standpoint that the original creators would have understood, that a lot of people just looking at something's success and the top line comments on a YouTube video won't actually have a solid grasp of.
You know what's interesting? You were saying the Marvel and DC thing, yeah, but you can also see it within the MCU itself because Iron Man was a shocking hit. Like,
Yeah.
that movie shouldn't have worked for so many reasons, and instead it was like, okay, turns out Robert Downey Jr.'s raw charisma and being allowed to ad-lib and the decent visual effects and actually letting us kind of have a superhero who, I mean, he's not grounded, but, you know, Iron Man is tech-based. So theoretically, it feels like, oh, this could be, like, realistic plus. Somehow it all worked. And then you can actually kind of see them trying to figure out what worked about it when they did Cap and Thor.
Yeah.
Because I rewatched Captain America, like, a year or two back, and the thing that surprised me that time is, the pacing is kind of off.
Yeah.
And I figured out it's because they were trying to beat for beat recreate the main pacing of Iron Man, up to and including, like, okay, how the character starts out, some trials and tribulations, heroic origin, but then also their later heroic origin where they actually get their heroic origin. You know, so, like, Tony was making the suit, but he wasn't using it for, you know, gonna go out and fight crime until later. And Cap gets the serum, but using it to, you know, rescue prisoners of war until later. And then, you know, montage of superheroics, and then, ooh, villain reveal. And it works in Iron Man, but in Cap it ends up kind of feeling a little bit formulaic. Because one of the reasons it worked in Iron Man was Tony's character arc was very interesting because he does kind of start out like, oh, he's a piece of shit. And then it's like, okay, he's been through some stuff. He's going through some things. Okay, I get it. And then it's like, oh, well, okay, I believe that he'd go superheroics. And then, you know, bringing it back home with, oops, Obadiah Stane, secret bad guy. It's like, oh, wow, okay. And then giant robot fight. But then in Cap, it's like, Cap's a good boy. He's always a good boy.
Yeah.
He doesn't exactly have that character arc because he's just a good boy. So instead, it's like, his arc is basically, bad thing happened, gonna rescue Bucky, bad thing happened, gonna rescue Bucky, bad thing happened, Bucky died. Well, time to go beat up some Nazis, I guess. Yeah, exactly. Oh wait, I see credits. Did we beat the game?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, we beat
I was
the
so
game.
busy talking about the MCU.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna come back in and do the second round of challenges. Red, keep talking. You're great.
The latency actually isn't that bad. It's pretty close.
It's not. I have it on ultra low.
Yeah, I know. I was
excellent.
trying to update the audio, so I was listening to the stream version. I was like, wow, I'm actually following the conversation with how Blue responds.
Yeah, very nice. But yeah, like, so you know, Iron Man was really good. Cap was okay. I think I'm the only person on the planet who actually kind of liked Thor.
Oh, I like Thor 1.
Yeah, that's good. Because honestly, for me, oh thank goodness, kindred spirits. But yeah, for me, it was just because I like Thor as a character, and I'll defend Thor as a character till my dying breath. Although I will say that his characterization in the cartoon Earth's Mightiest Heroes is the best he's ever been written,
Oh,
and I don't actually need. Yeah, I don't need him to be good in the movies because he's already good in that show.
Second level.
Okay.
But okay. But, you know, with Thor, they also tried to do the same thing. Like, oh, he starts off as a prideful asshole. Oh, no, the bad thing happened, and now he's stuck. And, oh, now he's, like, reinventing himself. And we're going to make this one a romance, because Kenneth Branagh is directing it, so he's going to make it Shakespearean, and Dutch angles everywhere, and woo! And it kind of worked, and I thought it was fun. But, like, they'd kind of caught lightning in a bottle with Iron Man, and they didn't know how they'd done it. So they were sort of casting about. So with Cap, it was like, let's recreate him. With Thor, they were like, okay, let's take the asshole character and make them humble. Because that worked well last time. And then, you know, Iron Man 2 kind of worked. That fight scene that Genndy Tartakovsky choreographed was pretty good. And they introduced Black Widow, which was a thing.
Yep.
Anyway, and then, you know, every time after that, they'd have like a breakout hit. And, you know, then Avengers was fine. It was really good at the time, but then you look back on it and you're like, well, I mean, you kind of throw all these characters together and kind of made them hate each other for like 98% of the movie, and then their teamwork was a little weird. And I feel like Avengers was great at the time, but hasn't aged as well because, like, looking at the later movies, you're like, oh no, that's just the only way you can write dialogue.
Yeah.
I thought the quipping was cool until I realized you're 100% quipping all the time. I get it. Yeah. And then, you know, every single time they're like, okay, this one went over really well. For the next one, let's try and also make that go over really well. I mean, hell, Guardians of the Galaxy shouldn't have worked, and then it was amazing. And then suddenly you can kind of see them being like, okay, Thor 3 is going to be really 80s now.
Yeah.
And that also you know, they were just like, okay, that worked. Let's do it again. And that's never, I mean, I understand why, because it's like, that worked. Okay, we have a winning formula. When in
Yep.
practice, what you have is one story that worked.
Yep. And that's the
yeah.
danger of considering a winning formula is it only applies in some respects, because formula implies, you know, structure and ingredients, but there's so much that you can't account for in just the way that something is put together. Like, on paper, a lot of these movies have the same formula, but the reason that one works or doesn't is dependent on all kinds of factors that are fully independent of the formula. Yeah, so you can have everything in the right place, but if you know if you cook, you know, your rice for too long, then it's like, oh, your risotto is fucked. And it's, you know, there's all kinds of specifics that people don't think about because they're like, no, look, the formula works. It's like, well, yes, but. So anyway, Red, wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
I would venture
understand.
that Avengers aged slightly better than I think it aged slightly better than you think it aged, which is fine. We're allowed to have our different opinions, but I am like, okay, I can look at all the scenes with Black Widow and say, all right, you know, the director had an agenda with this. I will just try to ignore it and appreciate what I can about these scenes, and then appreciate the rest of it that is not problematic.
I think the thing is, I haven't rewatched Avengers since like the first year that it had come out, because I remember it so fondly. But like looking back on it, I'm looking back on it like, okay, that part was okay, and that part I think I liked a lot better because I'd never seen anything like it at the time. I don't really want to revisit it with a critical eye because I did like it, you know. It's just then I watch Age of Ultron and I'm like, a lot of this feels similar to Avengers, but it doesn't work as well for some reason. Why is that? Yeah.
Now let's see. Now that we've talked about Marvel and DC, are there any other literary genres that we can point to of like good original version and a subsequent follow-up that either did or didn't manage to hit it? Because I'm racking my brain through all of my classical knowledge. I feel like Shakespeare
Maximum
has
Ride.
never... What?
Maximum Ride.
Oh, please, can we not?
Oh, but I've been shit-talking it so much lately.
I know. I liked the books.
I liked the first few books.
Yeah, no, I think that's a more accurate thing. It's more like I liked the first few books, and then I felt obligated to finish the series.
Okay, see, I never felt that. Once they were fighting the half Galapagos tortoise lady, I was like, I think these books might be insane.
You're not.
When she was like, I'm actually 200 years old and also part cheetah, and Max is like, nifty, I'm gonna throw you out this window, and I'm like, what is happening?
I feel like that's a logical answer to that.
Yeah.
Nifty.
It's like, I would also throw that out this window if I were in this situation.
I mean, to be fair, this book did teach me about safety glass.
Come
Oh, yeah. What I really liked about the first few books is, like, I'd seen, you know, kids' adventure stories before, but I hadn't really seen one that had such a kind of visceral, yes, these are kids, they are living on their own, it's kind of the dream, but also kind of a nightmare, you know, they steal clothes and they can fly and they're camping out in Central Park, isn't that cool? And I was like, this is cool, this feels like, the way you're describing it makes it feel grounded, and I like that, and it feels like I could be there. And then after a while, it was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun while it lasted. And then the last book was just whack and a half.
I haven't read it, I think, and
You
I
probably
kind of don't want to.
I think you would think it was humorous.
Oh, well, that's a good sign. Oh, no.
Like, you might find it very amusing. But it's
not exactly what I wanted
call
from my,
great literature. But it's funny.
Ding.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's good.
Make someone from outside High Street buy back their own stuff.
Yeah, you have to
Okay, we
go.
can do that.
I think that, the travel's still here. You just
Travel's
need to get
still
him over
here. Oh, yeah, it is. No, okay. All right, old man.
I'm also eating chips, so sorry in the comments if you can hear like random crunching noises. It's because I know what I'm about. It's 4 p.m. and I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I like to call it improvised ASMR.
You ever seen the Bon Appetit ASMR parody they did for April Fools last year? It's hilarious, but
No.
also so painful to listen to.
Oh, no. Oh god. Let's see.
anyone
Well, we're
who's
talking about
asking,
things that went
they are
sour the longer
Pringles.
they went on.
Sour cream and onion Pringles because nothing else is worth eating. No, I'm kidding.
Hey man, come get your keys.
I'll eat pretty much any chips.
I feel like
Actually,
Harry Potter's
while
a good
we're
example
discussing story-
of a genre that
Oh.
basically started itself and then rapidly spiraled out of control with just a slew of imitators and even its own series. But that's kind of a side topic.
I feel like young adult fiction or like juvenile fiction is generally like hit or miss, but like also I read so much what most people would consider bad juvenile fiction as a young adult, and I loved it. So you never know.
Oh man, where'd you go?
Mostly
Dear
because I read a
jeez.
lot of like vampire fiction, so that's like in itself a like hit or miss genre.
Good stuff.
I was bored,
Yeah,
so I would
think,
go to our
like-
library a lot and just like read whatever I could find. I would just like pull
Okay.
random books off the shelf.
Here- Nice. While we're talking about things that went sour the longer they went on, I feel like it would be irresponsible to not address some long-running anime, manga, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
I realize I might be, because like, it's hard to write something serialized once a month for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's not a fate I would wish on anyone. But sometimes you can really tell, like, okay, this was interesting and creative near the beginning, and then you found a formula, and then you stuck with the formula. Oh man, don't want to start any firestorms, but this is my opinion on Bleach, which I know was like the hottest shit ever for a while. Because
Bleach.
it started off with this good monster of the week format and like this kind of character driven stuff. And then they did, oh god, I don't remember the arc names, but they did that thing where they're like, oh no, Ruki is going to be executed and we only have 500 episodes to rescue her. And that introduced the formula of, now you must fight my 27 boss captains, and then you must fight me, and also
Yep.
maybe my 3 lieutenants. And I was like, ah!
It's like Supernatural, where
and-
first you fight God, and then you have to somehow fight God's bigger and worse older brother.
Gosh.
Uh-huh.
Metatron.
Yeah.
I did watch
God's second cousin.
Supernatural for a very long time.
Oh,
And I think it was one of the seasons, I want to say it was like season 9 or so, where all of a sudden they just like, it starts with like Dean or Sam coming back to life, and they're just like, oh yeah, no, Dean comes back to life, and then Sam just like gets a call and he's like, alright, I guess we're back to this now. I'm like, if you guys are like in canon so over this, I cannot watch.
Yeah. One of my rules of thumb for media is like, if a book is longer than like 200 pages, it has to justify its runtime. If a show is longer than 3 seasons, it has to justify its runtime. So many things just fully don't. That's why I like to keep stories short whenever possible. Lady, if you want this man to buy his stuff back from you, you gotta come out and sell. Be present. There we go. Nope, she just doesn't want to do it.
Just come honk at her.
yeah. There is a problem with long-running shows that sort of suffer from like power creep and or stakes decay. Because with power creep, you run into the problem of like, oh well, we already fought God in season 4, so now we have to fight God's second cousin, G-Man, for season
Mecha
6. Yeah, and then you also get like, for most shows, the highest stake is probably, geez, I hope we don't die. And then you
Yeah.
get things like Supernatural or Dragon Ball, where it's like, well, we've all already died. Kind of over it by now. And then they have to like raise the stakes. It's like, oh, well, yeah, you died, but now you can only come back to fight in this tournament for 24 hours. Or, oh, you've already died like twice, so now you can't come back again. Or, you died, but this time you came back without your soul, so now you're a jerk or something like that. And the problem is, once the stakes have already like been reached, once the bad thing has already happened, you kind of either have to pull back from that, because you can have good stories with low stakes, or you kind of have to keep raising,
Is there anything else you need
it's...
to do in the garden, because like he's gonna be there until
Yeah, I
it
guess I
unglitches.
cannot get this woman out of the garage. It's fine. She'll
I
get
think
out
they
of it
have
eventually.
like a certain level of thing they'll respond to, so I think if
Yeah.
you steal something out of her
Trap the
shop,
boy in the garage. Catch an object. Get thrown over the fence. Oh, okay. Dressed up the bust with things from outside the back gardens. Score a goal. Let's try to score a goal. Let's see if we can do that.
Also, are there any clothing items in here that you could dress the...
Yes, there are some glasses I can take.
Ah.
And the old man's
Hello,
hat.
Project Mouthwash. Thanks for agreeing with my hot take on Bleach.
Yeah.
Ugh. Listen, man, I tried. I really did. I got to, like, the Bount arc, and then I found myself mentally calculating out how many episodes I was gonna have to watch as they fought through the stupid, like, 27 sub-lieutenants, and then the 5 boss characters, and then that stupid vampire guy who was clearly the main boss fight. And I realized that I was doing math to figure out how much anime I was gonna have to watch, and then I just closed the tab forever.
Nice.
That's the last I saw of Bleach.
Let's see, what... I did watch... No. I read through probably way more Black Butler than was necessary.
Oh god, I remember Black Butler.
Yeah. Let's see. I
Yeah.
also... What other things did I end up watching? I don't know. We ended up watching... I had a couple of friends in middle school, and some of them are in the chat, or in the stream, I think. But if you are, you know who you are. But who were just like, oh, you should read this, you should watch this, and then I did, because I had no, what's the word for it?
Yeah.
Restraint,
Self-control?
self-control, yeah.
Hobbies. Oh. Sorry.
I
Fair to read the Black Butler manga. Yeah, no, that's what I did.
Meanwhile, I remember the moment that I discovered what filler was when I was watching Naruto, and this is like middle school, and it was like Naruto and Sasuke had their big battle, and then Naruto just started doing like other bullshit around the Hidden Leaf Village for like 40 episodes, and I'm like, wait a minute. They don't have a storyline, do they? And I felt like a door had opened in my brain that I finally understood what bad media was after all this time. It was like, oh, I get it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
One of my friends reminded me that I got her into Mortal Instruments, and now she has a tattoo of it, so I guess it didn't only happen to me, I also did it.
Yikes.
Oh man, like last month I was watching Dragon Ball Kai. For one reason only, I saw someone like comparing the dub quality on Twitter, and I was like, wait, they made Frieza intimidating? What the fuck? I gotta see this. And then I watched it. But in contrast, I once sat down and watched the entire original 4-hour-long Frieza fight from the original dub. It's so painful. Because at the beginning of the fight, he's like, I'd say this planet only has 5 minutes left before it explodes. And then 2 hours in, he's like, all right, monkey, I'd say this planet only has 4 minutes left until it explodes. And I'm like, you've just been staring at each other. What's happening? So, yeah, anime filler is a doozy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So now that we've been trashing on media, what's some good stuff that people can enjoy while they might be spending a little more time inside? Because... you know, it's easy to say, like, oh, watch television and stuff, but I know from personal experience that sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, just because I, like, probably should watch something doesn't mean I'm actually gonna, so...
Yeah.
Red knows that I'm notoriously hard to convince to watch something. She's tried many times. There she is, okay. But what's some good stuff that we'd recommend to, all the people at home,
if
these
your public
weeks?
library has, like, online access, you can probably get some good audiobooks. I've listened to a couple already. I mean, I have access through the Boston Public Library, even though we no longer live in Boston. But so, like, if you live near a major library that does have online access, check them out. A lot of free audiobooks, ebooks. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a lot easier to listen to a book than it is to read it.
If you're looking for book recommendations, I suggest you read the Discworld books. I'm going to be reading one of them tomorrow on the stream, but don't tell anyone who has copyright over it. It's probably kind of legal, but who knows.
If you comment on it, it's fair use.
Yeah, that's the trick. I'll just, like, take side notes to be like, man, I really like that bit. Anyway, but yeah, the Discworld books, they're really kind of hard to start because the first few books aren't very good, but you also don't need to read them. It's got, like, sub-stories. They're like, oh, there's the Guards novels, there's the Witches novels. I've definitely already talked about this, but, like, I recommend starting with Guards. That's the one I'm going to be reading tomorrow, so I can get as many of you hooked as possible.
Yeah.
Red, don't get me hooked on another book series. I already have so many book series that I have to read.
Cyan just casually listened to the entire Lord of the Rings on audiobook last week.
Yeah.
It was like day 3 is like, yeah, so I'm starting on, Return of the King. I'm like, you what now?
It's easier when you're listening to. I mean, I like reading Lord of the Rings. I've read Lord of the Rings. I've read the Silmarillion. Like, clearly, me enjoying this is not the problem.
Which gained you much respect in Tim's eyes.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. Here's the thing. It's just like one of those things that like you can read, and I did read, and I did enjoy, but like people who are like, I tried to read the Silmarillion and I couldn't. I don't blame you.
Yeah,
People
like you're not
who
a
are
failed reader if you
Have you
can't get
seen-
through the Silmarillion.
like people are like, oh, I couldn't finish Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry. It's like that's okay. I understand. Like some things are just really hard to read.
Totally
Not everyone
fair.
is so interested in the specific dynamics of trees.
Their ends blue.
No, but like also the times that Tolkien just describes regular ass fucking trees.
Yeah, because they're really beautiful elf trees. Okay.
You have to understand the trees.
No,
and if we're
no,
suggesting
my
shows,
my ball. Ah!
Okay, he's just gonna chuck it over the fence.
Oh yes, do my work for me. I'm your god.
If we're
You're
suggesting
there.
shows, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is really good, and I've
Yeah.
heard it's only getting better. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I've been watching the subtitled version, and it's really, really good. I mean, it was already really good, but it's like I'm watching it for the first time again because I'm watching it in Japanese this time.
Woot.
And it's all on like Verve. Like you don't need to make an account, I guess. They just kind of let you watch it, which is really cool of them. So
Nice. I've been watching
yeah.
the.
and it's
like-
really good. And like,
Sorry, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say that one of the things about Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is clearly the author had a single plot in mind and she wrote it and then she stopped. And that's one of the best things you can do with a show.
Yep.
Because that means that it's really coherent, it's well paced. And it's also why I can't really get through the one they made in 2003 before the manga was finished and before the manga ever finished. So it goes off the rails like episode 7 and never gets back on the rails.
Yes.
I just can't get through that one. Don't fight me on this one, Chad. I know some of you are 2003 purists. But the one they made, it's like 62 episodes. It's incredibly tightly paced. The foreshadowing is off the fucking chain. Like, I'll be watching it, and then they'll say something, and because I already know the plot, I'll be like, oh, you fuckers. How did I not see this? So yes, I highly recommend. Blue, I highly recommend.
Noted.
I've been watching like the really old Star Trek, which has been fun. So I would recommend that if you watched old Doctor Who and thought it was great. You would probably like this as well.
Whoa.
It's like I love old like sci-fi things where they like hold up a gun and then you just see like this big monochrome line of light hit them in the chest and then there's sparklers and then they're dead. Like I love that personally. It's an aesthetic. And then like when they're having a really dramatic fight scene and they like jump off a rock and it's supposed to be like this really dramatic moment. I love that. So if you also love that, it's on Netflix and I would recommend.
I've seen a few episodes of Original Trek, and that is my favorite part of it. I think I watched like the first few episodes because there's one where like they pass through a space fart and it gives 2 of the crew members psychic powers.
Oh yeah.
And like
And then becomes
and the bit where I fucking lost it is when the guy goes, "Pray to me, Jim," and Kirk like claps his hands together with this pained expression. I'm like, yes!
No, that one's
This
great.
is so stupid. Oh, I fucking love it. I also like the first one. No, it's the same episode where like he strangles somebody with like a piece of wire or something, and it's clearly on a string. Oh no, so good.
One of my favorite. Let's see. Out of the first couple episodes, I don't know. I just love the fact that like everyone is inexplicably attracted to Captain Kirk. Like, dude, come on. Like, please. I get it.
Fuck is where it's at.
Yes.
Real.
There's one episode where
You can also
they all like have this disease. Like all the adults have this disease. Like every time someone becomes an adult, they get
saw that.
they get yeah. And then I love how they're like, oh, Spock doesn't get it, and like no logic is needed. It's just like, well, clearly, obviously, he doesn't get it.
Sure.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that episode is the part where Kirk like rips off his sleeve like it's made of tissue paper and goes, "Look at my arms! It's happening to you!"
This will be you. Nah. Yeah, it's fun. So would recommend that if you appreciate the aesthetic of jumping off of small stones.
Yeah. My recommendation for jumping back to the
Amazing.
theme of like small, tight stories told extremely well. 2003 animated Clone Wars, done by Genndy Tartakovsky, the guy who made Samurai Jack. It's 2 hours. You can find it on YouTube. It is so goddamn good. It makes me angry how fun to watch it is through its runtime. It's got so many arcs. It does a really good version of like Anakin foreshadowing, understanding that he's gonna turn to the dark side, but not in the way that the 3D animated Clone Wars does it, where they wipe his memory afterwards. Like, no, Anakin fucking lives with that. It's so well done. It leads right into the battle for Coruscant. I love that show. Hearty recommendation for 2 hours of fun lightsaber mania, except for the one episode, the 2 episodes where Mace Windu loses his lightsaber, so he goes fucking like Kung Fury on an army of battle droids. Oh, it's so good. Yes. Oh man.
But actually, remind me, while we were talking about stories that were really good until a certain point when they weren't, Samurai Jack season 5.
The tragedy of Samurai Jack season 5 to me is when Cosmonaut Variety Hour did a video on how good episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Samurai Jack season 5 are, and he's like, now I usually don't make videos about a show before it's done, but these episodes are so good, I'm breaking my rule. And I'm like, oh, Marcus, I'm so sorry. Because after that 3rd episode, up to where, it is really good, the quality of the show just falls off a cliff after they make one terrible choice that drives the entire rest of the plot. And it's like, oh no. So episodes 1, 2, and 3, canonically, the end of episode 3 is where that show ends, and I am fine with it.
Hi,
As
Kitty.
far as because listen, if there's one thing Samurai Jack did not need, it's heterosexual romance.
I mean,
Specifically between a
shows need that.
75-year-old. Yeah, right? But in this case, it was like, listen, I know he looks like he's 25, but he's actually 75, and she's like an indoctrinated child soldier who has never seen another person in her life.
No, you
I'm just so uncomfortable.
Yep.
Sorry about the random snapping. Cat.
I'm also eating a cookie.
It's snack time over here.
It's snack time. We might be coming to the winds down of this stream after I get myself thrown over the fence here. What else can we talk about? We've given some media recommendations.
If you're
I hope Cleo doesn't accidentally close OBS by walking across the keyboard.
I don't think she will.
Are we good?
Nope, we're
Are we
good.
good? Okay,
Yeah,
we're good.
She'll just adjust the CC audio because so if the audio balance just got messed up, blame the cat and sound off in the comments.
No, they're too busy recommending things.
Let's see. I'm looking at my books, seeing what I might recommend. I've been reading the Shannara series. No one talked to me about the TV show. That doesn't exist in this household. It's
I'm
fine.
half elf.
It's fine. I like the books. I've read like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. So if you're looking for a lot to read, that's an option. Oh yeah, you got thrown over the fence.
Yeah.
We just did the Iliad.
Yeah,
that was fun.
for our book club, for patrons, we posted some fun little discussion questions. If any of you want to keep up with Cyan and my book club. The next thing we did was Beowulf, which was so much faster than the Iliad. Oh my gosh. Iliad's like a 30-hour read. Beowulf is like a hearty 3.
So like, wait, that's it?
Like, oh, it's done. Okay, great. Thank you, the Beowulf poet, for an incredibly brisk story. And then we're gonna do some Lao Tzu and Sun Tzu, and then Ovid after the book arrives in the mail.
Yeah, we have to. The thing is, normally we would try to go to the library, but the library is closed. And then, at least with Beowulf, I actually already owned a copy.
And I got it on Audible.
Yeah, and I was able to get an audiobook off of the library. I got the Iliad audiobook off the library. You already owned like 4 copies of the Iliad, so that wasn't a
3.
1, 2.
Fan. Oh no, 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it's 4.
Yeah, I have my really good version. I have a version. Oh, I didn't catch the bow getting thrown over. I have it's the Folio Society Iliad and the Odyssey, which my mom got for me for Christmas, which is, it's so pretty. I have an illustrated version by an author named Gareth Hines, who basically took the Iliad, not quite, word for word, but like pretty damn close, and basically turned it into a graphic novel. Gorgeously done. I have like a Barnes & Noble copy of the Iliad and Odyssey, which is both of them together. The translation's not great, but the book itself is really pretty. And then I have this really crappy, like the 9th grade version of the Iliad that I had a long time ago. It was used by someone else, and that's my travel version. So I'm 4 Iliads deep, which has nothing on my 6 copies of The Prince. I'm not joking.
He's not, unfortunately. Like, we've been trying to, like, reorganize the books, and I'm like, it's the Prince, and the Prince, and the Prince, and the Prince.
And Discourses on Livy. I have one of those.
One of those. And then another copy of the Prince. We're doing well.
I don't see where the problem is.
The problem is the fact that
What's
we
really-
only own one bookshelf.
One of them is an Italian, and one of them is an authentic 15th century Tuscan.
Is it really?
What's really funny though
Lord.
is like, oh wow, the stereotype of the kind of person who probably has that many copies of The Prince is like the exact opposite kind of person to who you actually are.
Yes. Curses.
You weren't even looking in the right
Yeah.
direction.
I know.
Just pick up the bow and run.
Oh man.
No, the other direction.
Oh, right. Nuts. It's like, yes, you have 6 copies of The Prince. You must love just ruining your friends' lives with duplicitous political schemes. It's like, no, I try to be nice to everybody as much as I can. Yes.
Yeah, I read
a
The
true
Prince and I was like,
Machiavellian.
yeah, doing this would make me an asshole, so I won't do this.
Yeah. I talked
'Cause I
about it
was a
enough in my
metatextual
Machiavelli
analysis.
History Makers. I try not to be an apologist, but like, Machiavelli's a great example of like how you can read between the lines for a source and understand that what is, rules as written is very different from like rules as intended. And the whole thing is just because you can be the biggest dick imaginable, it will bite you in the ass eventually. So like, do what you need to, but recognize that actions do have consequences. So anyway.
Yep.
That's enough of that.
Eh.
I like defying literary stereotypes.
Yes.
Come on. Give me the bow. Yes! Ah! I am Goose. Hear me honk. All right. Is there anything else you want to do? Because I think we might be coming to a nice part to wrap this stream up.
I think I'm good.
All right. Any
good?
last thoughts before we call it? Cyan Red, any last recommendations, pieces of advice for anybody who might be stuck at home and feeling it kind of getting to them after a couple weeks?
If you can open a window, it helps.
Yeah.
The sunlight
yeah.
helps. And just like take care of yourself
Yeah.
as best you can, friends.
Yeah.
It's a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
Just do your best.
I opened my window yesterday, and then within 2 hours, I was like, I should go on a road trip when this is over. So it changes the way you're thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
But then I also started looking up beautiful locations on Google Earth, which I wouldn't recommend right now.
No, don't do that.
It's dangerous.
Yeah,
I've been watching a
it's
little
bad
bit of
for you.
Rick
I was
Steves
like-
Europe, and it's like, ooh, I can only do so much of this.
Yeah, it's the dangerous forbidden technique these days. You never
Yeah.
know what consequences it might have.
Yeah.
Also, to everyone who would be celebrating Passover or Easter this coming week, perhaps by yourself or without your family, just thinking about you.
Yeah.
Best of luck, friends. We'll be
Yeah.
doing the same up here.
No, but
Yeah.
listen, it's actually really, really on brand for Passover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You stay indoors. You pop your head out to paint a little blood over the door so you don't die,
exactly.
and then you stay indoors.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's
So,
honestly,
yeah.
it was the same way in Easter where Jesus shows up and everyone's like, what do you want us to do? And Jesus is like, go home. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, we'll do that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad news, everyone.
lunch, you
Jesus
get
saw his
lunch,
shadow,
everyone
so
lunch.
6 more weeks of quarantine.
Yeah. Yeah, this is big Lent we've got this year. Like, honestly, this is rough, but this is probably one of the hardest things that, like, as a society, we might end up experiencing in our lifetimes. That's not a totalizing remark, because obviously anything can change, but, like, historically speaking, it's rare that we see disruptions this big, so, like, we're all doing good by just surviving and not looting, because that's really bad, so don't do that.
Also, just only buy
Yeah.
what you need. Just don't buy all the toilet paper.
You don't need that much
Yeah,
toilet
guys.
paper. No one needs that much toilet paper.
Seriously. Heck.
I also think it's important to kind of recognize that none of us know how we feel about this yet. Like, I mean, it sucks, but none of us have processed this situation yet because it's not over. And so if you're just kind of sitting there like, it feels weird that I feel kind of normal, or it feels weird that I'm stressing all the time, or, you know, for people who like, this is their first brush with like what kind of chronic anxiety feels like, and they're like, I don't feel like myself, or I feel like I should feel more disrupted. This is the kind of thing that in the moment you adapt to, and then afterwards you process.
Yeah.
This is, yeah. So in the moment, if you feel weird that you've sort of locked into this new form of normalcy, that's just how human brains work. We're really,
surviving.
really good.
Yeah.
Yes,
we will do the
we're
analysis
really good.
later.
Yeah, we can adapt to almost anything. I mean, like within about 3 days of this, I know almost everyone I know was like, yeah, I'm locked in. You know, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
But if you're sort of like, I don't want this to be forever, but it feels like it could be forever, that's just because human brains are really good at adapting to change, but not good at recognizing that change is a thing that happens. Like,
Yeah.
when circumstances change, we're like, oh yeah, I can do this. But then whenever we're in a situation, we're like, this will probably never change ever. And right now we're in this space where it's like, things aren't great, and we're sort of becoming comfortable with that, and we don't want to feel that way.
Yeah.
But it will end, and then your brain will process it. And also, don't be surprised if you have some pretty weird emotional fluctuations while that's happening. Brains are like that.
Yep.
It's just, you know, be kind to yourself right now.
Yeah.
This is a weird situation for everyone, and your brain is trying to figure it out just as much as you are.
Yeah. It ultimately will be okay, as long as everybody does their part. Stay home. You really can't know if you're sick or not in some cases, so you don't know how much, you know, just you staying home that 1 or 2 times might end up saving someone's life. So it seems like, you know, being home sucks, but it is one of the most important things that you can do for your community to keep other people safe. And the problem is that it's an invisible problem in a lot of ways until it becomes all too apparent. So even though it's hard, you know, buckle in, make some good food, watch something on Netflix. It's okay. We'll be here making videos for you, and we're all going to get through this.
Yep. And also, just real quick, it's okay if you're not like okay right now. This is a very weird situation, and if you feel like off and mentally unhappy and stuff, don't beat yourself up over that. Like, this is the kind of thing that is stressful and can be scary, but it you know, there's no way to predict how you're going to react to it, and don't beat yourself up over feeling like you're not reacting right. I mean, you know, earlier we were talking about like, oh, is Shakespeare wrote King Lear in quarantine. It's like, don't feel upset that you're not having like a productive quarantine, or that, you know, but also don't feel upset if you're honestly kind of fine. You know, this is a scary time, but not everyone is freaking. I mean,
You're okay,
we've mentioned
friends.
how this.
You're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
It's-
whatever
yeah.
you're doing your best, and that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay to be
Yep,
not okay,
yep.
and it is okay to be okay.
Just okay.
Yeah.
Woo!
Everything's okay.
Yeah. All right, so on that weird kind of discordant note, weirdly uplifting, weirdly
sorry.
not, we hope that you have enjoyed this Brush with Untitled Goose Game. We'll be back tomorrow. Red's going to be reading some Discworld. Stick to the Twitter on that, or join our Discord to get the ping when that goes live. And then we'll be back here on Thursday to play some Uncharted. Not entirely sure which one we're going to play. Depends on how many save files I still have active, because I don't actually know if I played the Uncharted collection. So maybe we're going to play some UC4. That'll be fine. But we will... we'll see you guys next time. So thanks for coming in. Yeah.
Bye, friends.
Keep it real. Keep it safe. Stay home. Have fun.
Bye.
All right, bye, guys.
Yes. Save the world. Stay home.